First, my name is Nicholas J. Fuentes. We have a great show for you tonight. Very excited to be back here with you tonight on Thursday. We have a lot to talk about tonight, lots to get into. Big show. Pretty amazing. There's sort of like a weird mirror situation occurring. We have two big stories tonight, and they're kind of like the exact opposite of what needs to happen. Our featured story, we're talking all about the imminent war with Iran. So we're going to war with Iran. We're sending the military to the Middle East to bomb Iran. We might even send special forces on the ground to raid their nuclear sites, government sites. At the same exact time, we're going out of Minneapolis. So Tom Homan came to Minnesota to relieve Greg Bovino and apparently to do some kind of oversight work or damage control after the killing of the protester over the weekend. Well, he announced that Minneapolis is going to draw down, rather ICE will draw down the number of agents that are operating inside the city. So it's pretty incredible. Two seemingly unrelated stories, but yet deeply related. We're ending the war on illegal immigration. We're starting the war with Iran. So we're ending our operations against white genocide and mass migration. We're starting up another war for Israel, another war for Israel to be a regional power, a global power in the Middle East. That'll be our show. Like I said, featured story. We'll get into some of the details here. Featured story, we're talking about how Trump is considering a second strike on Iran. And here's the best part. This second strike, it will not only be more severe than the entire war last year. We bombed Iran in June of last year in Operation Midnight Hammer. They said it was one and done, that we used B-2 stealth bombers to drop huge bombs, 50,000-pound bunker buster bombs on the nuclear sites in Iran. They said that was one and done. We did it once. Now we're done. Well, that's clearly not the case because we're going back. But get a load of this. Not only is this operation going to be so much wider and deeper and more significant, but it's even more severe than what we originally planned for the second strike. As you know, a couple weeks ago, we were locked and loaded, as Trump said, ready to go. We were going to bomb Iran a second time this year, in the beginning of January. It seems that at the very last minute, that was called off for a variety of reasons, which we'll talk about tonight. Well, now that the United States has deployed a much larger force package, so there is the addition of the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group, which is the aircraft carrier, 4 destroyers. It's also a number of fighter jets, strike aircraft, as well as special forces being stationed in Azerbaijan and neighboring countries. They say there's 50,000 troops in the area ready to confront Iran. Now that there's a much larger force posture, now they're saying it's going to be even bigger than what we had planned a couple weeks ago. And that includes, as of tonight, potentially on the ground special forces raids. So they will be dropping bombs, and then they will be sending in, potentially, this is one of the options being considered, they're going to send in special forces, boots on the ground, that will apparently infiltrate Iranian nuclear sites and see to it that they are completely dismantled. So we are at war with Iran. And we'll talk about all that, the timing, the prospect that it will actually happen, how we got here. I hate to say it, but I told you so. I told you it was not over last June, and it seems like it's starting up all over again. If not now, it seems like imminently, sometime in the next few weeks. So we'll talk all about that. We're also going to talk tonight about the operation inside Minneapolis. Well, wow. Big surprise. So, it's now, a week and a half? When did this guy even get killed? I guess it was only Saturday. Wow, it feels like that was like weeks ago. So after the killing of this Alex Preddy protester on Saturday, there has been much debate inside the Trump administration and inside the Trump movement about what the direction of the deportations will be after this. Obviously, there's huge public backlash, negative opinion polling and surveying, and it seems like the majority of the country is now not only against ICE, but they might even be against the mass deportation policy itself. And what's funny is that it has been very clear and obvious that the Trump administration is about to back down. That was clear before this guy was killed. That was clear before Renee
Red shirt,
Good.
red shirt, red shirt, red blast, red blast, red
It has
blast.
been
Come on, let's go.
transparent since really the beginning of the year. And by beginning of the year, I mean like January 1st. The Trump administration was telegraphing that they were preparing to walk back the mass deportation policy. What is funny is that since the killing of this guy, you have all of these so-called plan trusters, the Trump glazers, Trump shills. They have been working overtime on social media to try to convince themselves and everybody else that this is not happening.
They got high.
There is not going to be a total capitulation, that they're not walking it back, that they are not finessing the language, changing and softening the language on mass deportations, although they have been so clearly. Well, now, today, it's irrefutable.
Looking good.
So, earlier in the week, Trump sent out Tom Homan, the border czar, to Minneapolis to get to the bottom of what is happening in the city. They sent out the captain of Border Patrol, Greg Bovino. He is now at Mount Rushmore. They sent Tom Homan in. And apparently they sent him in to get to the bottom of it and figure out what's going on and try to fix it. Well, he's been there for a few days. Today he held a press conference. And oh my gosh, if I were a Trump supporter, I would commit ritual suicide out of sheer embarrassment. If I were a plan truster, five-dimensional chess, Trump supporter, I would actually commit ritual suicide tonight. I would plan on it. I would make a plan. I would sit down with a sword and I would disembowel myself just out of pure shame before I could even talk to anybody. I wouldn't want to go to work. I wouldn't want to talk to my family. Tom Homan goes to the press conference and basically throws everybody under the bus. He goes up there and says, hey, nobody's perfect. He goes, we don't always get it right, and mistakes were made, and if ICE is unprofessional, then we're going to put a stop to it, and dude, you are getting bitched by the mayor of the city. You are getting bitched by the governor. Think about the language of either side. The mayor of the city, Jacob Fry, gets up and says, get the fuck out of here. And Trump and Tom Homan go to Minnesota and they're like, hey, we just want everybody to calm down. We just want to de-escalate. We're not perfect. No one's perfect. We're having productive conversations with everybody. And this, Jewish soy boy mayor is getting up in front of the cameras with the Somalian community saying, hey, man, get the fuck out of here. We don't want any more deportations. Fucking mayor. He literally said that on Twitter. I don't know if that was a real tweet. That's also, the language is severe here. That's what the mayor is saying. Tom Homan goes on TV and says, well, listen, we're not angels. Then he says, we're getting ready to draw down the number of ICE agents in the city. That's the word they're using, a drawdown. They're drawing down. That means retreat. That means a withdrawal, a retreat, a surrender. And he said the new focus is on targeted enforcement of criminal illegal aliens.
No surrender.
Yeah, because when I see 50 million illegal sticks, and I shouldn't say that, I'm Mexican, but when I see, but seriously, When I see 50 million illegal Venezuelans and Salvadorians and Benin's and Haitians and Somalis and Muslims and Asians and Indians, you know what the last thing I'm thinking is? We need surgical, precise, targeted No, we need raids. We need sweeps. You know what it means to sweep? It means to take a huge broom and push everything out. We don't need targeted raids, targeted precision, surgical enforcement. We need sweeping raids. We need millions to go out. We need neighborhoods to be shut down. We need millions to be physically removed. Apologies for the slur. See, I can say that one because I'm Mexican. That's one of the perks. It's not all, you don't just get called a Mexican white nationalist, you also get to be racist against Mexicans. So, this is our new mass deportation policy. Retreat, surrender, apologies, and ultimately, total capitulation. There's going to be nothing massive about it. And we'll talk all about it. Hey, Andrew Torba, did you get what you voted for? Hey, Jack Posobiec, Mike Cernovich, Andrew Torba. Hey, is the mask back on? Here's how Trump can still win. What Trump is doing is this is actually attrition warfare. This is what you want to see. This is how you know we're winning. No, see, the black pillars don't get it. When Tom Homan gets up and says we're drawing everybody down, we're shifting gears to targeted enforcement, no, you guys don't get it. That's actually what you want to see. That's how you know we're winning. And the MAGA hat is back on. It's actually five-dimensional chess, and I'm getting what I voted for. Give me a break, man. Embarrassing. You should be ashamed of yourselves. We'll talk about all that. Should be a pretty good show. Before we get into it, I want to remind you to smash the follow button on Rumble, smash the like button, leave a comment, let me know what you think about the show, let me know what you think about my new look. I shaved the beard and mustache. Back to regular show. Regular style. I don't know. What do you think? I think I really prefer the clean-shaven look, to tell you the truth.
I ain't even noticing at all.
We'll let the reviews come in. With that said, before we get into the news, there's one other thing I wanted to talk about. My goodness. Have you heard about the new alternative to TikTok? We talked about it last week. TikTok has finally been acquired by Larry Ellison. After years of negotiations, the United States has brokered the sale of TikTok, at least its U.S. business, from the parent company ByteDance, which is Chinese, to a newly created U.S. entity, a consortium of public and private interests, of which Larry Ellison of Oracle will be one of the most influential interests. He will be one of the most influential stakeholders in this newly created private entity. The deal went through last week. They got a new CEO of the company. Surprise, surprise, he's a Jew. He's a pro-Israel Jew. He was at the World Jewish Congress talking about how in his position at TikTok, he shut down anti-Semitism, criticism of Zionism, among other things. Skepticism about the Holocaust was silenced on TikTok. This is what he did as a lieutenant at TikTok. Now he's the boss. Well, in response to the acquisition of TikTok by Larry Ellison, there is a new alternative, which apparently has been created by some sort of Palestinian. It's a Tech for Palestine movement. And apparently it's these Irish guys that are very far left, sympathetic to Palestine. They created a TikTok alternative called Upscroll. And there's been so much talk about this platform on X for the past week. I've seen people shilling this, and it's all the usual suspects. It's that Christensen guy who is like a white-presenting Palestinian, super far left. It's Ryan Grimm, the self-hating white man the self-hating white simp who is doing tricks on it for Ilhan Omar and calling her a badass bitch and everything. Ryan Grimm, the far left guy from Drop Site News. All these far lefties are pushing this app. They're talking about how everybody's deleting TikTok, up scrolls at the top of the charts, everybody's on there. It's a big party criticizing Israel. That is until today, when in response to the glut of anti-Semitic content on the newly created Upscroll, now the platform has announced that they're implementing hate speech policies. They're implementing new guidelines from their trust and safety team that ban hate speech, bullying, targeted harassment, racism, white supremacy, all that kind of stuff, because it is run by leftists, obviously.
Fuck Rumble, dude. Rumble could suck my ass, dude.
And this is just yet another reminder. Just because the left and just because Israel and organized Jewry, we're having some drop frames. As always, this bum-ass platform, it's every night now. All right, it looks like it's good now. If everybody then the live chat goes crazy. I see it out of the corner of my eye.
Good kick.
Why does it do this every night now? Every night since I came back, we get 500 drop frames. What is that? They treat me like I'm black on this platform. It's actually crazy. You know, you would think holding down the platform, you know, what is it, 600,000 followers in a year, you would think bringing in all the traffic, you'd think I would get some kind of attention. No, nothing. And we deal with this every night. Anyway, what was I saying? The enemy of our enemy is not always our friend. And so just because the organized Jewry, Jewish oligarchs, just because they are opponents of the white race in the United States and of the right wing and of nationalists, does not mean that the left is all of a sudden our ally. And here's the case in point. You have left-wing ideologues that are pro-Palestine. Why are they pro-Palestine? Because they see Palestine as like an indigenous community. Don't you understand that? The far left, self-hating white people, progressives, the reason they identify with Palestine, it has nothing to do with Judaism as such. It has nothing to do with organized Jewry or global Jewry as such, per se, in itself. They have a problem with Israel because they view the Palestinians as an indigenous community. So these are the same people that are doing land acknowledgements. These are the same people that want every public school in North America to say, we acknowledge that we are on stolen land, and this is tribal land of the Indians. Like, it's the same thing. And that's why they have a problem with Israel, because Israel is capitalist, Israel is pro-Western, it's a product of British imperialism and American influence. Now, the Muslims are slightly different. The Muslims, they happen to be third worldist and anti-Western, but it's mostly because the Palestinians are their homeboys. Because the Palestinians are their Muslim homeboys and they care about the mosque. For them, it's religious. For leftists, it's ideological. For us, it is identity-based. Don't you see the difference? For Muslims, it is a jihad. The Israelis are pushing the Muslims out of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is the third holiest mosque in Islam after Mecca and Medina. And so for them, it is about the Muslim Brotherhood. It is about their fellow Muslims, to some extent about Arabs. For leftists, it is ideological. It is materialist. It has to do with the struggle of indigenous working people against colonial capitalist imperialism. For us, it is about identity. It is about the fact that non-European, non-Christian people have all the influence in Western society, and using that influence, they are enriching and benefiting themselves. And that happens to be expressed in their support for Israel. How do they enrich and benefit themselves as Jews, first and foremost? Well, they help Israel, which is an extension of themselves. It is a part of their identity. And we would say that if we had a government of white Christians, that would not happen. Because white Christians, at least most of them, dispensationalists notwithstanding, your true white Christians are not going to put Israel over America because there is no ethnic, messianic, eschatological connection to that country. But that's only one form. That's only one expression of their ethnic or religious self-interest. And anyway, so I saw that today. I said, big surprise. Big surprise, this Upscroll app that all of these turd worldists are promoting. I'm getting really sick of that stuff. I've told you this before. It is time to eschew all of that. We do not need all of that. I do not want to hear any more from these third worldists about bitching about ICE, about America, about the West, and all that. I'm just kind of over all that stuff. It had its place and it played its part at a time in our history, in the history of this conversation, but I think it has certainly run its course, and I am just not a fan of it anymore. I don't think I ever really was. I thought it was useful for a time. Now I think it's a complete and total liability. So forget, I'm not going on the pro-Palestine left-wing app where they're going to be policing the so-called real anti-Semitism. It's like, for example, Hassan Piker just got banned on Twitch, which W's in the chat. Hassan Piker just got banned on Twitch for calling supporters of ICE Zionist pigs. He says, if you support ICE, you're a Zionist pig. Really? Once again, it's like, what is the value of someone like that? Hassan Piker is human garbage. I didn't know they stack shit that high. Hassan Piker is human trash who should be deported back to Turkey. Honestly, we should just put him in the ocean like Osama bin Laden. We should just give him a watery grave like bin Laden. Just tie weights to his ankles and throw him overboard. I don't care who the fuck does it. I don't care if the IDF does it. Hey, Netanyahu, if you can hear us, can you do us a solid? Netanyahu, if you're listening, you know what would do you know what would get all of Gen Z white guys, right-wingers to support Israel again? You need to go Maduro on Hassan Piker and fucking throw him in the ocean. Give him a watery grave. You want us to support Israel? You want to make the case, why should we ally with Israel? You know, that would be a start. That would be a good first step. I see Hassan Piker, he goes, if you support these ICE deportations, you're a Zionist pig. Dude, they are African Muslims that are fucking stealing from us. And he's over there placing them. He's over there in Minneapolis with that guy that ran for mayor. He's over there LARPing as a communist. He's got his general secretary costume on. He's got his Mao Zedong shirt on. He's got his Ushanka on. And he's over there LARPing like some kind of socialist revolutionary instead of a champagne socialist, which is what he is. And he's over there with these anti-white, anti-American Muslims that shouldn't even be here. They're stealing from the taxpayer. And he goes, if you want these people gone, you're a Zionist pig. It's like, first of all, you love Jews, okay? First of all, you would lay down for Alex Soros. What are you talking about? These people want to flank us and say, if you support a strong immigration policy, they say, you're a Zionist, you're pro-Israel. You want to play that game? I don't think you do. Because you notice the left is now trying to outflank the right and say, well, if you support mass deportations, you're not a pure enough Israel hater. You really want to go down that road? Is that something that you think is a good idea? Do you think you have escalation control over that? Because we admire Hitler, so I don't think you want to go there. Hassan Piker wants to step to us and say, you're not anti-Israel enough. Really? Because, you're not really critical of Jews at all. He goes on Twitter and says, this is Israel censorship. No, bro, it's Jewish censorship. It is Jewish billionaires, it is Jewish organizations, and Israel is the Jewish state. And what binds left-wing and right-wing Jews in America to the cause of Israel is their Jewishness, their Jewish identity. You ready to go there? You want to take it there? You sure about that? And it's funny because leave it to the dumbest leftist in America, Hassan Piker, the biggest numbskull, the biggest meathead idiot, to make that tactical mistake. He's daring the right to be more anti-Semitic. Bring it on. You want to be in an anti-Semite competition with the far right? Bring it on. I don't think you want to play that game. You want to start down that road? If you support ICE, you're a Zionist pig. Really? If you support white genocide and mass immigration, you're a Jewish shill. How about that? And that's the truth. They want to say that enforcing immigration is they make this abstruse argument that that's pro-Israel. Yeah, well, I would contend that mass immigration and diversity is a Jewish plot, which it obviously is. I would debate anybody on that. I would debate Hassan Piker. Hey, Ryan Grimm. Ryan Grimm that never met a third world shithole that he didn't fall in love with, caping for Haiti and caping for all these other countries. When Ilhan Omar got sprayed with apple cider vinegar, did you see the video? She tries to charge her attacker. Ryan Grimm tweeted, that's classic Ilhan. Classic Ilhan. She's going to try to confront her attacker. Dude, you are anti-white garbage. He sees this anti-white Muslim uppity Somali. Ilhan Omar straight up hates white people. It could not be more clear that she has absolute contempt for whites and Americans. She's a boss bitch, Muslim, brown, socialist, and Ryan Grimm is like, classic Ilhan, total boss. Dude, fuck these people. Like, you cannot get it through your head enough. Hassan Piker, Ryan Grimm, Alex Preddy, Renee Good, fuck all of them. I am so done with the left. We have to extricate ourselves from the left-wing capture on this issue. You do not need to be an open borders, anti-white, left-wing, Marxist, piece of human garbage to criticize Israel. As a matter of fact, it inhibits your ability to see the full picture. Where do you think open borders came from? Before the Hart-Celler Act, before the Civil Rights Act, you had a huge Jewish population inside the United States fighting to get the government to let in more Holocaust refugees. You had a huge contingent of Jewish lawyers and judges and activists that wanted to transform America into a multicultural, multiracial, anti-racist society. You don't want to go there, believe me. I see all of them saying this is the Israelization of America. They want the immigration enforcement to see Americans like the IDF sees the Palestinians. No, I'd like them to deport every illegal immigrant that has no business being here. We need to reconquer America. Just like how Europeans conquered America the first time, we need to reconquer America and take the country back from the invaders, the drug dealers, the criminals, the economic migrants, the gangbangers, all these people that are destroying our society. And by the way, who have been permitted to be here by powerful Jewish interests that feel more comfortable with gangbanging non-whites than with white people that have extraordinary potential. So, take all that stuff and blow it out your ass. No more guilt tripping. I'm not going to be guilt tripped by one more bleeding heart liberal saying, but you don't. I see that one Palestinian guy. He's like, well, you don't really care about Palestine. I'm America first. If you're Palestine first, why don't you go back there? I see this guy, by the way, the guy looks white to me. All he does on TikTok is talk about Palestine, the Palestinians, the raised fist. Hey, pal, you're living in the United States. Is that what you exist here to do, is propagandize us for some? You have my sympathy. I'm sympathetic. I'm compassionate. This is America, and I'm an American. I'm deeply sympathetic. I am deeply compassionate. I don't think we should be bombing those people or supplying Israel with the bombs to kill them. But this is America. If all you care about is Palestine for its own sake,
that motherfucking character off of Gangs New York.
You want to be a martyr for the cause of Palestinian statehood? You know what? Why don't you go and sign up with them over there? This is the United States. I'm not going to be guilt-tripped on my own fucking soil. I'm not going to be guilt-tripped in my own country. It's two sides of the same coin. You have the Jews that want us to go and fight and die for Israel. Then you have the left that wants us to go and fight and die for Somali scammers and Muslims and non-whites and blacks. And I'm the white guy that's saying America first, Americans first, European civilization first, Christendom first. The left wants us to lay down our lives for George Floyd and Renee Good. Fuck them. Seriously, let Israel handle their problems. Let George Floyd handle his own problem. Let all these people fight their own battles. I'm a tax-paying, fourth-generation U.S. citizen. I'm a Christian. I am taking my own side. I'm not going to be browbeat by some brainwashed progressive. I see that from Hassan Piker. You're a Zionist pig if you support deportations. Dude, you should be deported. It is a failure of the Trump administration that you have not been deported. You are a pig. You are a disgusting communist pig, and you shill for the biggest Jewish agenda of all, which is white genocide. Deporting Somalian scammers that shouldn't be here got nothing to do with Israel. Nothing to do. You want to talk about the pro-Palestine protesters? That one I'll give you. Somalian scammers in Minneapolis? It's got nothing to do with it. You want to abolish ICE. You want open borders. And there is nothing more Jewish and pro-Israel than that, you fucking left-wing pig. You fucking roach. You should be deported back to Turkey. Anyway, I lose my mind because it's so dishonest. And we cannot be the stupid people being emotionally blackmailed and guilt-tripped and ideologically captured by people that hate us. I am so sick of sharing a country with people that hate us. I get the same feeling when I see Mark Levin. I get the same feeling when I see Randy Fine and the rest of them. Roseanne Barr, as I do when I see Hassan Piker and Ilhan Omar. These people, they all hate us. Mark Levin goes up on stage and breathes fire about how much he hates anti-Semites and wants to destroy America first. So does Ilhan Omar. She gets up and she can barely conceal or veil her hatred of white people. And you got white piece of shit leftists like Ryan Grimm saying she's a girl boss. You get Hassan Piker saying abolish ICE. Fuck them both. This is my most popular program. Take all the Mamdanis, the Omars, the Talibs, and take all the Shapiros and the Fines and the Loomers and the Levins. Take them all, get them together, get them all together, put them on a boat, and get them the fuck out of our country. Get them all out. I don't care what it is. Jews, Muslims, Third Worldist Muslims, Zionist Jews, all the Shapiros, the Levins, the Mamdanis, the Omars, all these people that can't conceal their hatred for whites that built this country, all these people that want to put every other race, every other nationality ahead of America, Let's just kill two birds with one stone, and let's deport all of them. That's my program. You have left-wing people that say, no, keep the Somalians, open the borders.
Okay.
Dearborn is actually a great place, Habibi. No, fuck all that. And then you get the Israelis that say, deport the Muslims. Muslims are the problem. But leave us alone in our communities where we're doing the exact same thing. You know what? Our patience has had its limits. Okay? Our patience is at the limit with all of these alien tribes inside of our country. Who is going to raise up the flag for Christ? Who is going to raise up the flag for the white man? Who will raise up the flag for the United States of America?
It's fine, dude.
For once, instead of a hammer and sickle, Islamic crescent, a fucking Star of David, the UN flag. It's really, we have to embrace the right wing. We have to embrace the far right, because the far right is the only side that is exclusionary to all of these harmful interests. The left wing wants to bring them all in, except for one. You know, they don't mind if you come in from the ghettos of Eastern Europe. All the Russian communists, all the Jewish Russian communists that built the modern left, the left loves them. They just don't want the so-called capitalist, Zionist, whatevers. Just stop with that. Anyway, so that's that. No, I will not be on Upscroll being policed for hate speech. No. You can criticize Zionism, but don't you dare say anything about Jews. No. You can criticize Israel, but not mass immigration. I've been very clear from the very beginning. We oppose white genocide. We oppose our Jewish oligarchy. They're deeply entrenched. Deeply related. They are inextricable. I oppose them both. And as a matter of fact, that's a prerequisite. Foundational. Can't oppose one and not the other. We want mass immigration, but what's even the point then? Okay, we're not being told what to do by Jewish Zionists. Now we're just being told what to do by Jewish liberals, black DMV workers, La Raza, and, some Indian business group. No, thank you. Anyway, but that's that. I do want to move on. I want to get into our featured story, which is about this imminent war with Iran. I've been meaning to talk about this for a while, and it's been a minute. Our featured story is about how we are rapidly hurtling towards a second wave of attacks against Iran. And it appears to me that this is inevitable and unavoidable. It is almost certainly going to happen. It was announced today by President Trump that if Iran does not come to the negotiating table and give up on basically everything, give up their nuclear centrifuges, give up their enriched uranium, give up their ability to enrich uranium, give up their longer-range missiles, give up their support for the proxies.
Oh, my God.
Trump is effectively demanding a complete and total surrender, or else Trump says we are going to war with
That was dope. It's blood.
And that
discussion.
Menu of options to strike Iran now consists in a much wider range of possibilities. They now say that the Trump administration is considering special operations raids on the ground. So we're not just talking about airstrikes this time.
Who the fuck are you talking to, bro?
We're not just talking about bombing government buildings,
man, don't worry about it, man.
Missiles and nuclear sites. The Pentagon is now talking about American soldiers inside Iran, physically dismantling Iranian infrastructure. And to understand how we got here, we do have to back it up a little bit. And we'll reiterate some of the things that I hope you already know about the whole situation. So, of course, Donald Trump was basically elected for this exact purpose. I said this in 2024. The reason that Trump won the election, the reason that Trump became so popular, they let him. You do understand this, right? Trump was allowed to become popular. He was allowed to win the election. They stood down. Whatever these forces are, that conspired against him in 2016 and 2020, they stood down and they let him become successful. And this was telegraphed years in advance. It was telegraphed after October 7th. Because after Israel was attacked on that day, a number of powerful American Jews, maybe you could say a majority of American Jews in general, shifted to the right. Why? Because they saw the reality of what is happening on the ground in Israel, which is that there is a contingent of Palestinian Muslims that have a genocidal hatred for Israel. That's the perception. That's the narrative. On that day, this performance, which is October 7th, there was this theater, a stage play put on for world Jewry. And the moral of that story was Israelis are not safe. Jews are not safe. We have to stick together. We need to be cohesive. And Jews in America that day were mugged by reality. They realized the world is still a dangerous place for Jews. And feeling vulnerable, they became more right-wing, seeking security through militarism, through tribalism. What's more, they saw the American political left sympathize with the Palestinians. And they were alienated from the political left by this. They saw that the far left, the progressives, the radicals, immediately, almost immediately sympathized not just with the Palestinian cause, but with Hamas. And this alienated many Jews who would have considered themselves liberals or Democrats. And so there was a shift rightward among all American Jews. I don't care how left-wing or liberal they were, they all shifted
Oh my God.
somewhat to the right after this day. Being very powerful in America, this had a knock-on effect. It made America more right-wing. If the liberal Jews running the media and academia and the lawyers and the donors and the ones in Silicon Valley and Wall Street, if they all became more right-wing that day, then they used their influence to make America more right-wing. America did not have an epiphany about wokeness. These people did. And so they stood down and they allowed Trump to win. Why? Because they knew that Trump was a vehicle
This guy comes
for Israel's revenge. Whereas left-wing protesters and Democrats and liberals and
get
the
your ass
Biden
beat down, bro.
administration were huffing and puffing all the way, trying to restrain Israel, criticizing Israel, trying to get them to stop their campaign. Powerful American Jews knew that if a Republican was elected to the White House and to the rest of the government, that they would allow Israel to take the gloves off and would actually supplement their efforts in a major way. So once you understand this, you realize that war with Iran in the Trump administration is a feature, not a bug. I know there are a lot of Trump supporters that believe that Trump's pro-Israel politics is a compartmentalized aspect of his program. They say that he's got lots of different policies, and some we like and some we don't like, and this idea that he wants to support a war with Iran, well, that's just one among other policies. And they also have this idea that they have this relationship with the president, that the president is listening to them, reading their tweets, receptive to their outrage, their emotions. And there was this idea among very naive and stupid people that might run certain Twitter accounts like AF Post, among other people like Andrew Torba, who might be named Mike Cernovich. And these naive and foolish and stupid people thought that we could try to support the good and criticize the bad. That we could sort of work with this arrangement. They thought that those pro-Israel politics were just sort of part of the deal, and maybe they could be mitigated in some way through pressure on social media. Well, I hate to tell you this, but that is absolutely not how it works. Trump was given hundreds of millions of dollars by donors with the understanding that the only way that he could unlock that money is if he gave them assurances that he would go to war with Iran. He is not elected and going to war. He was elected to go to war. You understand the difference? This is why we have a Trump administration. Actually, it's the complete opposite. The reason he is elected is to go to war with Iran, and all of the other things are ancillary. The trade war, the deportations,
I take it this isn't a
most of
social.
it. Those are
Okay,
the
so we're in
stocking
serious
stuffers.
trouble, and you
Those are
know
the
my-
bonuses. War with
Okay,
Iran
okay.
is the big ticket item that got him into the White House in the first place. And that's why he's there. He is a Trojan horse, and the purpose of the horse is not to give a gift to the city and the base. The purpose of the horse is to get the soldiers inside the city walls where they need to be. The purpose is to get Mike Waltz in the National Security Council. The purpose is to get all of these Zionists inside the Pentagon, inside the State Department, so that they can carry out their mission, which has been the case for a long time. And so as quickly as Trump was elected, this started. Netanyahu began visiting the White House demanding a war with Iran. Trump's own personnel started pushing for a war with Iran. Trump attempted to negotiate with Iran because I think that in his heart of hearts, Trump is against a war ideologically, but ultimately this was in vain because the table had already been set. Long ago, the Israelis and the Zionists and the Jews poisoned Trump's relationship personally with the nation of Iran by pushing him to assassinate Soleimani, by pushing him to rip up the Iran nuclear deal, by branding the Iranian Revolutionary Guard a terrorist group. They had already poisoned the well. They had alienated this particular president from Iran. They knew that a rapprochement would be impossible. They knew that diplomacy would be impossible because the seeds of distrust had been sowed a long time ago. And their insurance policy was they fabricated this myth that Iran was trying to assassinate Trump. Remember that? During the election, the Israel-infiltrated FBI, the Israel-infiltrated Pentagon, put out false intelligence that said that Iran was trying to kill Trump. And so, if the well was already not sufficiently poisoned by the behavior of the first Trump administration, surely as Trump was propelled into the nomination and then the White House a third time, second or third time, respectively, that little assassination plot, that little piece of propaganda, that would do the trick. That would tip it in and seal the deal.
What the
And
fuck,
so Trump
bitch?
attempted to negotiate with Iran, attempted to pick up where Biden left off and normalize relations with Iran, but the damage was already done. And we were already on a collision course with this country. Throughout the first half of the last year, the Israelis propagandized the world about an imminent Iranian nuclear capability. Eventually, they launched their preemptive attack. They could not defend themselves, and they knew they couldn't. And that is how they were able to draw the United States into the conflict. And we bombed Iran's nuclear program. Now, again, a lot of Trump fans and Trump shills saw that first strike on Iran, and they lied to themselves, and they coped. And they said, hey, trust the plan. They said this is five-dimensional chess. Once the whole thing was over, they wiped their brow, they breathed a sigh of relief, and they said, see, Trump isn't a neocon. He just bombed Iran once, and now it's over. Now it's all finished. They said, actually, it was genius. It was ideal. They said Trump was able to disable Iran's nuclear hedge. He was able to do it without committing us into a war. It was a clean, effective operation. And now we don't have to go to war with Iran. We've neutralized their program, and we could focus our attention elsewhere. That's what they all told themselves, and that was the cope. But here was the problem with that line of thinking, okay? Iran's nuclear problem was never the problem. Ever. The real problem at the heart of this antagonism between Israel and Iran is that Israel cannot tolerate the existence of a large, powerful Islamist state that does not recognize Israel. That is the fundamental problem. As long as Iran is Islamist, as long as it is powerful enough to check Israel's hegemony, as long as it influences other Islamist groups in the Middle East that challenges Israel's hegemony in the region, and as long as they will not normalize those relations, then Israel wants this country destroyed. That is Israel's mortal enemy, just as it was Bashar al-Assad before that and Saddam Hussein before that. So Israel wants to utterly annihilate Iran. It is for this reason that Iran has built up a nuclear hedge. That was actually the reaction. The first move is that the United States and Israel supported both sides in the Iran-Iraq war. The United States and Israel collaborated to overthrow Saddam Hussein. The United States and Israel collaborated to overthrow Bashar al-Assad. The reaction to this policy, the reaction to this grand strategy, was to create a nuclear hedge. And this, unfortunately, puts Iran between a rock and a hard place. No pun intended. If they don't have a nuclear hedge, they are vulnerable. If they do have one, then that creates a pretext for Israel to convince the United States to go to war with them. But understand, the U.S. interest in Iran is limited. In Israel, it is unlimited. Israel wants Iran to be wiped out. Therefore, Iran has a nuclear hedge. As long as Iran has a nuclear hedge, we need to ensure that they do not become a nuclear-armed state. That's a limited objective. We don't necessarily mind in itself that they have allies in Iraq, that they have allies in Syria or in Lebanon or Yemen, not by itself. We don't necessarily have a problem that Iran has missile systems, not in itself. We do have a problem that Iran has nuclear centrifuges. Because as the global hegemon, one of our real grand strategy objectives is to prevent the proliferation of WMDs. Because that is the only way that a revisionist middle power could ever threaten us. Iran cannot, would not ever threaten us with conventional capabilities. But any country with a limited nuclear, biological, or chemical arsenal could theoretically threaten the United States, either on our homeland through terrorism, or if we needed to intervene in some region by having an asymmetrical deterrent against U.S. intervention. So understand that is how the table is set. Israel wants to destroy Iran. So Iran has a nuclear hedge. That nuclear hedge invites intense U.S. scrutiny. What does this have to do with the war last year? Well, Israel, and even Trump himself, the United States has been driven into a confrontation with Iran over the nuclear program. That has been the pretext. That has been the bait. In the first term, we were told that we have to rip up the nuclear deal because that will not sufficiently constrain Iran from getting a bomb. We were told that we had to kill Soleimani and do these things because Iran is nuclearizing and they're this anti-American nation seeking a nuclear bomb. Last year, the pretext for Israel's preemptive strike was that they had a nuke. And what was the U.S. strike on Iran? What was Midnight Hammer? The U.S. strike on Iran last year was a limited strike on Iran's nuclear centrifuges. But understand it in terms of the bigger picture. From our perspective, American Trump supporters were saying, well, the day is saved. We took out their nukes, and now they no longer pose a threat. Because again, that's our limited objective. That is the narrow way in which we find ourselves at odds intrinsically with Iran. And so with the nuclear hedge off the table, people say, we no longer need to engage Iran, confront Iran. There's no longer a reason to engage Iran with hostilities. It's over because their nuclear program could not easily be reconstituted. So from our perspective, people said the day is saved, the issue is resolved, and now we're all going to live happily ever after. But again, that fundamentally misunderstands that there are three parties There are three variables in this equation. What we did in June could be perceived one way, as a one-and-done strike that eliminated the one thing we were worried about. But think about it from Israel's perspective. If Israel's goal is to topple Iran, taking out their nuclear program is only the first step. The nuclear program is what protects Iran.
You're in trouble.
If Iran is engaged in a once-and-for-all battle, an existential battle for its existence, then Iran could always pull that trigger. That's their dead man switch, so to speak. They get a nuclear bomb, and then they become a porcupine. If they find themselves up against the wall, the U.S. and Israel breathing down their neck, ready to slit their throat, Iran can race towards a bomb and deter any major attack. And so with that nuclear hedge offline, it leaves them vulnerable. Israel's not finished. Because again, Israel's problem is not that Iran has nukes. Their problem is that Iran's nukes protect Iran from being destroyed. Their goal is to destroy Iran. So once the nuclear program was destroyed, and Israel was bombing other sites also, missile launch platforms, government targets, and decapitation strike on the military leadership, Israel then began to plan their next move, which is to further degrade Iran's other defenses, its proxies, and its missile program. The nuclear hedge is only the biggest deterrent that Iran has. Its other deterrent is that if Iran is attacked, they can launch missiles at Israel and blot out the sky with ballistic missiles, which would be ruinous for Israel. It would be painful. Their other deterrent is that if Iran is utterly destroyed, all their missiles, their nuclear hedge, their military is neutralized, well then Iran's proxies, which are dispersed, could launch a second strike. If for whatever reason, Iran cannot race towards a nuke, cannot hit the button and launch missiles at Israel from Iran, cannot retaliate in a conventional way, well then they can rely on Hezbollah in Iraq, Hezbollah in Lebanon, militias in Syria, the Houthis in Yemen, Hamas to bomb Israel. And Israel cannot launch a regional attack on everybody everywhere. You can't take out all of Iran's missiles and all of Iran's air defense and Iran's leadership and take out the 90,000 Kataib Hezbollah in Iraq and take out the 200,000 Hezbollah fighters in Lebanon and take out the Houthis. You can't do it everywhere at all times. We're now talking about millions of soldiers here and probably thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of different kinds of rockets and missiles. They couldn't do it. So the United States said, oh, we're done. We bombed their nukes. We're good. They're not a threat to us. Israel said, phase one complete. They said, now the runway has been cleared. Now that the worst deterrent has been taken offline, now we can degrade their other capabilities.
Looks cool from here.
And so Israel began to regroup and plan and prepare to then launch attacks on Iran's missiles, on Iran's proxies, on its military leadership or civilian leadership. That brings us to where we are right now. Now we're 7 months out after that initial war. And I said this the day after that initial war. After we bomb Iran, after Israel bombs Iran, what is Iran's reaction? We thought about America's perspective. We thought about Israel's perspective. What is Iran's perspective? Well, it's very important to consider that the United States was in negotiations with Iran when that war started. And when the war started, the United States came out and said it was a fake out. Steve Witkoff and Trump went on TV and said, we didn't really intend to make a deal with Iran. We were negotiating with them so that they would lower their guard and that they would not expect or anticipate a preemptive strike. And that allowed Israel to have that element of surprise, and that also then allowed us to bomb them. Okay, so if you're Iran, what is your reaction to all of this? Well, you realize that you cannot trust the United States. In particular, you cannot trust Trump. They say that if we engage with the United States in diplomacy, they're going to pull the rug out from under us. we're lowering our guard, we're vulnerable. If we think we're going to get a deal, in the end, we get attacked. And the United States is either unable or unwilling to restrain Israel. The tail seems to wag the dog. The United States seems to be actually the junior partner in Israel's foreign policy. So what does Iran do in response to the war? Well, immediately they send out all of the weapons inspectors from the IAEA. Immediately they cut off all diplomacy with the United States. And then their next step is to reconstitute all of their defensive capabilities. They are now effectively in a war with Israel and the United States. That is how they see it. So if you're in a war with the United States, what's your only deterrent? A nuclear bomb. So what do you think Iran did? I imagine they started moving their highly enriched uranium, building new enrichment facilities. They have apparently undisclosed sites that are even deeper inside the mountains, even deeper underground than the ones that we knew about at Fordo and at Natanz. So Israel has their highly enriched uranium. They have other centrifuges. They have other sites we don't know about. And the word is they start to reconstitute their deterrent capabilities. They start to reconstitute their nuclear hedge to deter the United States. They start to reconstitute their missiles as a deterrent against Israel. Nukes deter the U.S., missiles and a nuke deter Israel. So Iran goes right back to work, building their missiles, building their nukes, furnishing their proxies like Hezbollah with billions of dollars so that they can rearm themselves. Now, what does Israel say? Well, if Israel is trying to destroy Iran, they cannot allow Iran to reconstitute. So you know that eventually, on a long enough timeline, Israel, and actually sooner rather than later, Israel's going to want to go back to war. If Israel's goal is to destroy Iran, it defeats the purpose of degrading their defenses if you're just going to wait for them to build them back up. Israel wants to destroy Iran, so we got to take out their defenses. You take out their defenses so that you can make a decisive strike. But if you wait too long, then Iran is simply just going to rebuild because they're a big and a rich country. They're an oil-rich country with a huge population. They are fortified. This country is built for a war with Israel. It's quite literally like the topography was built for a war. It's mountainous. It's very difficult terrain. It's 3 times the size of Iraq. Huge population. So Israel's next move is they're not going to wait for Iran to do this. They are very soon going to want to go back in. And that will be the pretext. They will say it will have all been in vain. And actually, it will have ensured that Iran gets the bomb if we do nothing now. The way that the Israelis are going to spin it is we attacked Iran once. That set them on the path inexorably to rearmament, not just with missiles, but also with nukes. We have to hit them again. It's a necessity. Otherwise, the first one, again, it was not only a waste, it would have accelerated the timeline for Iran to nuclearize. And it's hard to argue with this. Now, for the United States, how do we respond now to Iran's rearmament? Well, we have to assume, surely, that Iran is going to build a nuke. We must assume this. They have ejected the inspectors. They have ejected the IAEA. We know that we did not fully destroy their centrifuges, their stockpile of enriched uranium. And now they won't negotiate with us. By tricking them and bombing them, we have spoiled any potential rapport or trust. They won't talk to us. So we must assume that if they're not talking and they're rearming, that there is this ticking timeline where they're going to build a nuclear bomb. Now the United States is faced with exactly 2 possibilities. If Iran is building another nuclear hedge, then we can either negotiate with them to give it up, or we have to bomb them again. Once again, those are our only 2 options. There is no third option where we let them get the bomb. I know that I have said in the past that I think that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but I'm telling you, the Pentagon cannot accept this. That is just U.S. strategy. Thinking in terms of the logic of international affairs, The United States cannot accept Iran having a bomb. We must assume they're building one. We must assume they are hell-bent on building one after that war. So you have two options. You can either blow up their bomb or you can negotiate. Well, the reason why that war last year was such a mistake is because Israel got us to bomb Iran directly. That had never happened before. We have killed their officials outside Iran. We have attacked their proxies outside of their country, not on their soil. But by bombing their soil in a sneak attack during negotiations,
So what are you into?
Israel made us get our hands dirty. They made us assume responsibility, assume the liability and the blame for all of it. That is why this was a great success for Israel. In that moment, we bought the war. And why is that the case? Because after we sneak Iran, we no longer can credibly go to them as a neutral party. We can't go to them and say, hey, we're cutting out Israel. We want to make a deal. You can trust us. We don't want to destroy you. By bombing them, we got our hands dirty. We got blood on our hands. We deceived them. We sabotaged any potential trust, any potential relationship. We demonstrated that we are unable to restrain Israel, that they are, in fact, in control of our foreign policy. And so what does that mean? It means that second option of diplomacy is probably permanently foreclosed. At the minimum, it is extraordinarily difficult. It's just not going to happen. So Iran doesn't trust us. They don't want to negotiate. The United States is making these maximalist demands. We're basically telling Iran, you have to make yourself completely defenseless or else we will destroy you. They will never agree to that. They can't make themselves defenseless because, again, the reason they have pursued these weapon systems is because Israel wants them to be destroyed. So it has put us in an unavoidable, you see logically now how we are in an unavoidable collision course because Iran is rearming. They won't negotiate. We can't let them rearm. And although we might want to negotiate, that has been sabotaged. There's also a very short timeline because the longer we wait, mathematically, the more we have to assume that they have rebuilt. So this puts us, like I said it in 2024, I said it in 2025, we are trapped in this reciprocal exchange for which there is no off-ramp. You think that we live in a world where we have infinite choices and there's so many different permutations, so many different possibilities of where things can go. But what people don't realize is that we have been making decisions for 20 years. And every time we make a decision, we close off an entire tree of possibilities. That's the unseen aspect of all this. A lot of people saw last year, well, we bombed Iran and we did it one time and it wasn't a big deal. What they did not see is how that has now tied our hands and we are now being sent inexorably on really only one possible course of action. And it's not to say that it is impossible that we're able to negotiate, but it is extraordinarily unlikely and difficult. You see, Trump gets reelected, it was doomed from the start. Why? Because he killed Qasem Soleimani, because he went to war with the IRGC, because he ripped up the original nuclear deal. And they knew that. The Israelis knew that. They set us up. They installed the one man in the world who literally cannot make a deal with Iran. They installed the one man that murdered their hero. The one man that ripped up the original deal that we now have to reconstitute. The one man that they convinced Iran is trying to kill. So that was a poison pill. They put this guy in charge in the middle of this crisis because they knew he would not make a deal. They knew they could get him. They could bait him into giving them this layup and bombing Iran. And once they did, now we are set on this course. And that brings us to the events of the past 3 weeks. Netanyahu goes to Mar-a-Lago on December 29th, and he's begging Trump to bomb Iran. Specifically, what is he saying? He's begging Trump to bomb their missiles. So we took out the nukes, check. Now, Netanyahu is worried about their other deterrent, their ballistic missiles. Because, of course, Israel cannot topple their government without Iran lobbing 1,000 missiles at Israel every single day for a week. So Israel has to take out now the missiles. So he goes to Trump and begs him, can we get the green light for a second wave of strikes? Coincidentally, a week later, one of Iran's state-sponsored banks collapses and there are massive protests. And as we talked about, these are not organic protests. This is a color revolution. Eyewitnesses, according to the Financial Times, said they saw men dressed in all black, armed with automatic rifles, storming government buildings. These are Israel and CIA-backed proxies, probably Kurdish in origin, if I had to guess, other separatists, other types of operatives. But then you have this color revolution, you have this insurrection backed by Israel and the CIA. Trump goes on Twitter and says help is on the way. He's preparing to strike Iran a second time, and this time attacking their internal security service and their missiles. At the last minute, he calls off the strike. Why? Because at this point in time, we had just kidnapped Maduro. And so all of our forces are either in the Pacific or in the Caribbean. We only had a handful of ships in the Middle East. What does that mean? It means we're missing an air force. We're missing key radar and early warning systems. We don't have a ton of personnel. And so if we strike Iran during the protests and it doesn't topple the regime, then they get to lob 100 missiles at Israel and missiles at U.S. bases without a warning, and we will not be able to sufficiently protect those targets. And that means that Israel's getting pounded. That means that U.S. bases in Iraqi Kurdistan, in Damascus, in Jordan, in Al Udeid, they're all being bombed, or they could all be potential targets. And so, at the last minute, Trump pulls back the strike and says we need to wait to have more power in the region. We need to evacuate certain personnel. We need to get ready. And that's exactly what he did. So he diverted the USS Abraham Lincoln from the Pacific to the Middle East. He sent in a number of refueling aircraft, military transport aircraft, all kinds of strike aircraft, fighter jets, moving THAAD systems, moving anti-missile systems into the region, deploying tens of thousands of personnel, evacuating other personnel in preparation for a protracted wave of attacks against Iran. And that brings us to today. This is our story from the New York Times. This is the latest. It says, quote, President Trump has been presented in recent days with an expanded list of potential military options against Iran aimed at doing further damage to the country's nuclear and missile facilities or weakening Iran's supreme leader. The options go far beyond the proposals that Mr. Trump was considering 2 weeks ago as a means of following through on his promise to stop the killing of protesters by Iranian government security forces. The current set of options even includes the potential for American forces to carry out raids on sites inside Iran. And it comes in a different context now that the protests have been brutally quashed. Mr. Trump has been demanding that Iran take further steps to end its push to build a nuclear weapon and halt its support for proxies that have long targeted Israel and destabilized the Middle East. Mr. Trump has not yet authorized military action or chosen among the options. The president remains open to finding a diplomatic solution, and some officials acknowledge that telegraphing the threats of military action was intended to drive the Iranians into a negotiation. In recent days, he has mulled whether regime change would be a viable option. With Iran, officials remain skeptical that Tehran would accept the conditions the U.S. has outlined. They include a permanent end to all enrichment of uranium, giving up its current nuclear stockpiles, starting with more than 960 pounds of uranium that has been enriched to near bomb-grade levels. The demands go even further and include limits on the range and number of ballistic missiles, an end to all support for proxy groups in the Middle East, including Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. Agreeing to the missile limits would essentially make it impossible for Iran to strike Israel. Mr. Trump is still weighing the range of options. Among the riskiest would involve secretly sending in U.S. commandos to destroy or badly damage parts of the Iranian nuclear program not already damaged in the U.S. bombing last June. The aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln, armed with Fa-18 attack planes, stealthy F-35 fighter jets, is on station in the Arabian Sea and within striking distance of Iranian targets. The carrier is accompanied by 3 missile-firing destroyers. The U.S. has already sent a dozen additional F-15E attack planes to the region to strengthen strike aircraft numbers, and the Pentagon has dispatched more Patriot and THAAD air defenses to the region to help protect American troops based there from any retaliatory strike by Iran short and medium-range missiles. Long-range bombers based in the United States that could strike targets in Iran remain on a higher-than-usual alert status. The Pentagon heightened the status 2 weeks ago, and Mr. Trump requested options to respond to the protests. Okay? So, we have another aircraft carrier there. We have all these fighter jets, strike aircraft. Everything's all ready to go. And these are our demands. We're telling Iran, you cannot enrich uranium. You have to give up your stockpile of enriched uranium. We are telling them you have to limit the number and range of your ballistic missiles such that they cannot hit Israel. And you have to abandon all your support for every regional group in the Middle East. Now, think about this from Iran's perspective. Israel wants you dead. We, the United States, and Israel have been openly talking about regime change for years. For years. Saying we want to topple their government. We want to reinstall the monarchy, the Shah. Iran's only means of defending itself is its nuclear hedge, its ballistic missiles, which can hit Israel, and its proxies. And we're telling them, if you don't make yourself absolutely defenseless, then we will destroy you. Well, Iran must realize that they will be destroyed regardless. If they give up their centrifuges, their enriched uranium, if they give up their missiles, if they give up their proxies, they are defenseless. They are vulnerable. If they don't have missiles that can hit Israel, then that means Israel can bomb them with impunity. Iran does not have adequate air defense. Iran does not have air superiority. If they don't have the missiles, Israel will control the skies, and that means they can just hit Iran whenever they want, however much they want. Without the proxies, Israel does not have to worry about anything on their border, not on the north with Hezbollah, the south with Hamas, the east with the Popular Mobilization Force. And without a nuke, you can topple the Iranian government and not have any concern about what happens next. Okay, so Iran becomes a failed state, so it balkanizes. So it turns into violent chaos and disorder that last decades. Well, as long as they don't have a nuke, not really our problem. So the logic goes. So our demands are that they make themselves defenseless. They will never agree to that. They will take their chances on the battlefield. Because if they don't, well, then now you're really screwed. Now you're up a creek without a paddle. So we're telling them, either you give up everything, you render yourself completely vulnerable, or else we go in. Well, what do you think is going to happen here? Iran doesn't trust us. Iran has so far refused to negotiate. Iran will never agree to these terms. And by the way, even if they began to negotiate, once again, I will remind you, there is a third party here that is extremely active. And that third party, Israel, just as they did last year, just as they did in 2024, they will sabotage the diplomacy. So this is what I'm talking about. Ostensibly, we are there doing gunboat diplomacy. Give us what we want or else. Well, that relationship is already impossibly frayed. It is damaged beyond repair. It is irreparably harmed. But even if even if it worked, even if what Trump was doing could or did work. The Israelis have the final say. They have the ace up their sleeve because they could always sabotage it. So there is such a low likelihood, based on those years of distrust between the leaders of America, the current leaders of America and Iran, based on the years of hostilities, sabotage, subterfuge, openly hostile rhetoric. Even if you could overcome it, Israel would still sabotage it with a false flag, with some sort of provocation, with their rhetoric, lobbying. They would find a way to derail it. And that means you think you have a few options. Realistically, you have two. In the end, you have exactly one. They have narrowed the range of options to one course. It is a slit. It is not a double slit experiment. You have one hallway, one door that you can walk through, and that's a war with Iran. That's where we are. And it has to happen quickly. Because what they are telling the United States is that Iran is racing towards a primitive nuclear warhead. It's a matter of time. What they are telling the United States is they are racing towards a newly built ballistic missile arsenal. Israel says that Iran has fully reconstituted its missile program to the same level as it had before Israel went to war with Iran last June. And to top it all off, Netanyahu is making his 6th visit to the White House in February, which is in 2 days. Okay? This is where we are. So I think it is inevitable, it is a certainty that we are going to war with Iran quickly. And they got Trump locked in for 4 years. And it doesn't stop here, even if this one is another one and done. The long-term goal is to topple the Iranian government. This is a terminal regime. It's over. Their proxies are defeated. As a regional power, they are neutralized. Their strategic weapons have been degraded. There is civil unrest. The economy is a failure. And so the United States and Israel are going to once again degrade Iran's defenses. Maybe this will just be the second one. They're going to attack the Internal Security Service so that Iran is vulnerable to infiltration. They're going to attack Iran's missiles so that Iran cannot strike Israel preemptively or otherwise. They are going to finish off the nuclear hedge. And then Iran will be like a lame duck country waiting to be toppled by a color revolution and assisted by the United States. And Israel knows they got 2 more years with this guy. 2 more years to make it happen. That's what we got set up for. And it was like that from the beginning. So that's the situation in Iran. You know, we're going to have to save this other story about ICE for tomorrow because we're out of time. It's already midnight. But suffice to say, the United States is now ending its policy of mass deportations. We're opening up a front with Iran. And so, what do you say to all of the Trump supporters, the plan trusters, the shills? They said it would be a golden age. It would be different this time. They said we just simply need to trust the plan. They said all you need to do is put your head down and stop worrying and just trust Trump. If Trump is failing, it's only because of a lack of blind faith from his supporters. Well, it is January 29th, 2026. Mass deportations are already over. They never happened. And we are on our way to bomb Iran for the second time. Wow. Who could have possibly predicted it would end up like this? Not like this, Andrew Torba. Do you remember when Andrew Torba was posting every single day? Trump just said something based, and you're blackpilling? Remember that inanity? Do you remember that absolute and utter stupidity? Every single day. Whoa, you know, Trump said something cool and you're blackpilling? Trump took a fucking picture at McDonald's and you're blackpilling? Hey, wakey, wakey, Mr. Torba. Hate to disturb you at this hour on your, pasture-raised egg farm. hate to disturb you at this time of night when you're sleeping with your trad wife, but we're about to go to war with Iran and mass deportations are over. So what do you have to say for yourself? That you were so miserably wrong, so miserably naive and stupid and lacking in foresight. The John Doyles, the AF Post employees, what do they have to say for themselves? You got played. You fell for it, you idiot. I am old enough to remember in 2024 when Trump stood there with Netanyahu at Mar-a-Lago, when Trump took a paycheck from Miriam Adelson, when Trump promised to staple green cards to diplomas to David Sachs. And I remember all those people said, oh, that's a throwaway comment. Oh, that's actually what you want to see. Oh, Trump has to do that. He's just playing the game. If you don't think that's acceptable, well, you're not serious. They said, you don't know what it takes. You're not serious enough. That's what it takes to win in politics. They were telling us that like they knew. They said, listen up, we know how politics works. You have to cut a deal with Israel to get your mass deportations. Yeah, well, about that. We're a year in, you've deported 230,000 people, and they're already walking it back. We're a year in, and we're on our way to bomb Iran for the second time. And people are still coping. Making up fake numbers. We actually deported 2 million people. Says who? Says this census survey of 65,000 people with a response bias. Oh. It never ends. And this is why, as I've said for years, I've said it all night, we cannot be these stupid people anymore. You cannot be in league with Barry Weiss. There is no outcome where you win. There is no outcome where Ben Shapiro and Jared Kushner are walking Trump to the Ohel to give his intention at the grave of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and you come out on top. Does that even need to be said? There is no timeline where you see your president wearing a kippah, holding hands with Jared Kushner and Ben Shapiro to put his little note at the grave of Menachem Schneerson, and that is our guy who's gonna be Hitler. Not gonna happen. If Shapiro thinks he's their guy, and you think he's your guy, somebody is wrong. And it ain't Shapiro, okay? If Ben Shapiro thinks that Trump is his guy, and, you're a heritage American or whatever, and you think Trump is your guy, one of you is wrong. And it's not the Jew. You want to know why? Because the Jews have Trump's fucking phone number, and you have a Twitter account. Never forget that. If Larry Fink, Miriam Adelson, Mark Levin, and Ben Shapiro, if they all think that Trump is their advocate, and you think they're wrong, he's your advocate, here's how you know who's actually wrong. Shapiro, Levin, Adelson, and Fink, they have a personal audience with Trump. They have his phone number. They have an open invite to the White House. You have a Twitter account. You roll out of bed, open up your mobile phone, log on to Twitter, and you post into the void. Trump isn't even there. He's on Truth Social, and it's all filtered through Susie Wiles, a lobbyist from Florida. Okay? Does it even need to be said? No, the posters are not in control. The Jews are in control. The posters, with their insipid bullshit content, are not controlling the White House. The Jews that are at the White House are controlling the White House. Does it need to be said? No, Aiden from AF Post does not outrank Miriam Adelson. Captive Dreamer and Jack Posobiec do not outrank Larry Fink and Bill Ackman. They don't. So, you trusted the plan, you fell for it. I told you so. I told you in 2024, the deportations will not happen. A war with Iran will happen. And now all these numbskulls are making excuses. They say, well, we're not really retreating. They say, well, we're not really going to war with Iran. Or maybe that's a good thing now. Who even knows? So they say. That's Trumpism. That's your movement. It's a load of crap. So anyway, we're going to move on. We'll take a look at our super chats. It's just so frustrating because I warned everybody this would happen. And all these people that are, they don't even hold a candle to me. I said precisely all of this 2 years ago. Exactly 2 years ago. To the letter. And people said, don't take him seriously. We know better. We're the serious people. We're the adults in the room. We're going to have sex with Peter Thiel, and we know how it's really going to go down. I'm at Project 2025, and I think that I'm working at Project 2025, and the base people are going to be the chief of staff and run the White House. You were wrong. Eat shit and fucking die. You were wrong. I was right. And now we reap what we sow. MAGA hat is staying on. Don't chip out. Stay trusting the plan. Stay in line. These people are pathetic. They really think that if you don't complain on Twitter, Trump will improve. They're like, hey, everybody relax. Here's how he can still win. It's like, what do you think this is materially affecting? It actually doesn't matter what you say or do. In the end, those are not the pressures and incentives and considerations that govern the world's most powerful office. So, yeah. Mass deportations, never going to happen. War with Iran, on its way. We're going to move on. We'll take a look at these. We'll see what you guys have to say about all this. We fixed entropy, so we're good tonight. But, yeah. It's just wild. I know I keep going on, but I can't get it out of my head that, how much of a miserable catastrophe is it? Let's just go through the list, shall we? I'm really relishing this. This one's for John Doyle. This one's for Andrew Torba. This one's for all you true Goyim. This one is for all you Shabbos Goys. Who would flip the light switches if it wasn't for you? Who would open the refrigerators? Who would turn the lights on and off? Who would carry water for the Jews that hate us if it wasn't for these useful Goyim? If it wasn't for you, useful idiots? Let's see, what were we promised? In 2024, they said we were going to cut the deficit by $2 trillion. Remember that? Cut the deficit by $2 trillion. Because we have Doge. It's going to be funny. We're going to move quickly and break things. We're going to bring that private sector mentality to the White House. We're going to cut $2 trillion in waste, fraud, and abuse. Elon Musk, Vivek, Tulsi, RFK, Tucker, Trump are staying alive. Yeah, well, Doge failed after 3 months. And then Elon left the White House ignominiously after cutting nothing. Let's see, what else? Mass deportations. Didn't you see those signs? Look, people at the RNC held up a sign that said mass deportations. It has to happen, right? We've deported 230,000 people. That's fewer than Obama's first year in office. And now they're drawing down the number of ICE agents from Minneapolis. They're going to shift gears and focus on targeted enforcement instead of sweeping raids. House and Senate Republicans back down. They're going to let the Democrats defund DHS to put in place more restrictions. They're leaving Maine. Here's your mass deportations. They said that Trump was going to make everything affordable, fix the economy. It's going to be a new golden age. Today, Trump said he wants house prices to keep going up. He said if housing prices go down, it hurts homeowners. So he said it's my job to keep housing prices going up. In perpetuity, houses aren't expensive enough. It just gets better and better. Bitcoin is down 15% over the last year. It just gets better and better. We hit the cap for H-1B visas, 130,000. Trump said, I will end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours. Well, it's still going on. He said, I will bring peace to the Middle East. We have another armada off the coast of Iran ready to go. Yeah, there we are. And now what's going to happen? We're setting ourselves up to lose in 28. And you want to know the truth? If the Democrats win in 28, you realize that they are coming back with a vengeance. You do realize that, right? If the Democrats had won in 24, they would be on the back foot. If the Democrats won in 24, let me tell you something. If Biden was succeeded by Harris, she could not, would not, she wouldn't have the political capital to go balls to the wall. The Democrats were already falling apart. Half the country would think the election was stolen. Most of the country would think she's an illegitimate president because she never won a primary ever. She would be a complete disaster. If she went to war with Iran, nobody would support it. Everybody would be criticizing it. Think about how weak a Democrat administration would be this year. But if you elect Trump, and Trump antagonizes the left for 4 years, arresting James Comey, arresting Letitia James, arresting all these people, doing all these things, they are coming back with a vengeance. Now they're pissed off. And Trump has alienated the young people, alienated Hispanics, alienated moderates and independents. He's not going to be on the ballot in 28. This fat, uncharismatic dork who has never been tested, who has never had a job, this goofus, he's going to be the nominee. And Republicans have made sure of it, that there won't even be a competition. They're going to give him the crown and say, good luck. And if this guy cannot rally the Trump coalition, if he shits the bed, we're all screwed. Like, it's over. So, and what good will it have done? People said, well, something's better than nothing. Not really. If we get a Democrat in 2028, is it going to matter that we deported 250,000 people? It's not even a drop in the bucket. Like, think about it. People say, hey, well, it's something. It's better than the alternative. Dude, if we get to 2028 and we've only deported 1 million people, that's not worth it at all. If we get to 28 and we get a Democrat who launches an inquisition, it would not have been worth it to only deport 1 million people. It just wouldn't have been. If we get a war with Iran and no mass deportations, and then we get a Democrat that's going to punish all of us, was that better than nothing? I don't know. I don't think so, actually. But all these people said, hey, don't ask that question. They said, don't entertain the notion. It's unthinkable. They said, don't even entertain the notion that we shouldn't vote for Trump or not trust the plan. I was the only one expressing this. They said, hey, just shut up and vote Republican. That's all you could do. Okay, well, now we're fucked. But yeah. Enjoy your Creed playlist on Spotify. All right, let's take a look at the Super Chats. For real this time. We're going to take a look. We'll see what we got here. Let's see. Okay.
Austin Flanagan sent $20. Love the show, Nick. My friend Mo has a problem with going after fat girls and he needs some wisdom to get over them.
I'm not entertaining that.
Brock Moser sent $20. Been arguing with my uncle about the JQ. He keeps pointing to Romans 11 and how Paul said the Jews are the roots and Christians are the grafted in branches. I said, yeah, maybe the roots of a tree could spit on it, and Ed usually guessed said branches lol.
How many times we got to go over this? The Bible is... Look, the original Christians were all Jews. Meaning that they were part of the tribe of Judah from Israel. Okay? These are the ancient Israelites, the Hebrews. And these people, Jesus was one of them. And Jesus was their promised Messiah. And his own people rejected him. Most of the Jews rejected him. But the earliest Christians were Jews. And there were intense debates between the apostles about whether to keep the old Jewish laws, whether to circumcise, whether to keep the dietary restrictions. Christianity was an offshoot of that ancient Jewish religion. Properly understood, Christianity contains that original Judaism. Christianity is the story of how a chosen people produced the Messiah who died for everybody. And then this, what we would call today, rabbinical Judaism, Talmudic Judaism, mystical Judaism, this is a fork off of that. Properly understood, the Jewish religion ended when Christ arrived. The Jewish, that covenant was fulfilled. It's done by Christ. And then it became something else. And so Judaism was bookended and is contained inside of the larger story. It's finalized in and fulfilled in the New Testament, a religion for all people. What persists after the arrival of the Messiah is the Pharisees, the Pharisaical Jews, who are expelled from Israel. They're the only remaining sect. And there's a few different factions inside the Jewish community at this time in the first century, but it's only the Pharisees that survive. And this Pharisaical community goes out into the world, and they have this crisis because the temple's destroyed, sacrifices can't continue, they're outside of the promised land, the Holy Land, and so they have to create this new religion. There's this crisis. So they write down their commandments in the Mishnah, they write down the Talmud, they make their synagogues, they kind of create this new religion. And over time, you get all these innovations. You get Midrash, you get the Kabbalah, you get these mystical practices. And what you have today is just, it has nothing to do, or it's extremely derivative, let's say, of the Old Testament. That's a different religion. So the Old Testament religion was fulfilled and finalized in Christ. Jews then created a whole new religion, which is based on not just the written Torah, but the oral Torah. And they said, well, we have this expansion pack. Not only did Abraham receive the Ten Commandments in the Ark of the Covenant, but he also had this whole other thing. We have the oral tradition, which is the Talmud, how we're going to interpret these commandments. And then later on, they said, actually, we got even more. They said, actually, we got even more. Not only do we have the Ten Commandments and the oral Torah, they said, but also we have the mystical tradition. I'm sorry, Moses, I meant. We also have the mystical tradition. We also have the Zohar. We have this story about the Spirot. We have the story about the Tree of Life and all these different principles and this theology of language and so on. And so they say all that, they got all that stuff on Mount Sinai. And it's a different religion. So you don't have to go there and say, oh, the roots of the tree commit usury. That's just idiotic. You just don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So it's true, Jews are the root, and the Gentiles were grafted on. But they're grafted onto the religion of Christ. You know, Christ is the Jewish Messiah, came for the Jews, but then he really died for all of us, and the Gentiles were grafted onto the tree. And now everybody that believes in Christ is Israel. Everybody that believes in Christ is part of the tree, is part of the body of Christ, is the church. It's a spiritual kingdom, not a real, because the real kingdom is like the kingdom of the Jews. And it's this people, descended from these people, from this dynasty, from this this dynastic line, and it's going to be an earthly kingdom. And Christ arrives and says, no, it's a spiritual kingdom. And that means that everybody can ascribe to it as long as and it's a spiritual law. He says, if you lust after a woman, you've sinned in your heart. Even though you might not have broken this earthly law, you've broken a spiritual law. We're aiming for spiritual purity. And there's a, so that's the difference. So that's the thing, is Judaism now, it's kind of a misnomer for what it really is.
Brent sent $20. When are you going to collab with Santa Cruz? He said he would be willing to collab with you and get you locked in. You need it low. Also say amongst clavicular.
I don't know Zeta, so clavicular is the looks maxer. I don't know who Zeta is. He did not say that he took it too personally. Santa Cruz, hey, dude, I was joking. Bro took it way too seriously. If somebody says, are you going to go on Locked In with Santa Cruz? And I'm like, I've made my choice. I'm a disciple of Clav. I believe in steroids. And he gets all shitty. He's like, I was never going to invite this fool out here. And blah, blah. It's like, bro, holy cortisol spike. It was a joke. Relax. So he's a little autistic. He didn't get that one.
Igor Petrovich sent $3. We were talking about movie midnight releases, but what about video game midnight releases? Sound is a thing of the past now that discs aren't a thing. Last one I went to was in 2012 for Medal of Honor Warfighter. Good times. Ooh. Also, did you play Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, or Omni-Man as a kid? Nursing is for girls.
I played Crash Bandicoot. Spyro was always dumb to me. Could never get into it. But Crash I played. Wrath of Cortex, that was the game. Remember Wrath of Cortex? That's a throwback. Medal of Honor Vanguard, that was a good one.
Based Obama sent $22. New listener. It's my first year as a lawyer. How should I hide? Cushion my beliefs. Would rather seem apolitical or mildly conservative to my leftist associates, partners.
I love that. How do I conceal my... Don't talk about him. Seriously, how stupid do you have to be to ask that? How do I conceal my views? Well, they're not written on your fucking face, man. Just don't talk about them. How hopeless of a human being do you have to be to ask something like that? That's like saying, how do I conceal my nipples? Wear a fucking shirt. Like, you say hide your beliefs. How do I do that? Don't fucking talk about them. Don't say... They're in your mind. They're in your mind. The only way anyone could know them is if you verbalize them. So don't do that, obviously. Holy, how do I keep a secret? Don't tell anybody. I don't know, is that a hard one for you? Are you a fucking retard? Honestly, how stupid do you have to be? You must be a complete idiot. How should I hide my beliefs? Don't say them. They're not visible. Okay, like, does that need to be said? That's crazy. How do I hide my love for Euphoria? I don't talk about it. How do I hide the fact that I love the TV show Euphoria? I don't tell anyone, so no one will know. If I don't tell them, no one's gonna know. No one's gonna know. They're not gonna know. So don't tell them. It could be your guilty little pleasure.
Ciagro Win sent $20. You talk shit about fruit dessert, yet you like boys love like McDonald's. How can I agree with you on so many topics, yet your food preference instead of white trash?
Okay, just shut up. Just shut the fuck up.
Sneeko Big sent $25. Fucking ridiculous. All of the 2A retards are normie guns quivering that someone performing the arrest tactics not melted just disgusts me. These people have to go. Start charging these people with terrorism. Fuck these.
See, dude, that is... I know that's... I don't like all the swearing on the show, but you literally need the mindset of fuck these people. Renee Good, Alex Preddy, Ryan Grimm, Hassan, fuck that. Like, go fuck yourself. No, I'm not going to sit down and entertain. You are anti-white scum. I'm not going to sit down and say, oh, hey, pal, what's going on? No, screw you. So, yeah.
GSE sent $25. W on Harry Potter is gay. Your take on God being better than LOTR is hella Jewy.
No, it's the opposite is Jewish. If you like Tolkien, you are cooked. You are cooked. You know, people are always saying, I like Tolkien, I like Lord of the Rings. That's dumb. All of that is dumb, and if you like it, you're dumb. Game of Thrones is awesome.
Uwe Dobry sent $20. Hey, nigger, if your dad or family member was illegal, would you glaze on them? Love the show.
Of course.
Andrew sent $20. Did you see the crowd chant wank for the James Fishback event in Miami tonight?
No, but that's awesome.
Brian sent $25. When you have your first child, will you be in the waiting room or the delivery room?
I don't know.
NW Illinois Farmers.
I'll be somewhere else.
NW Illinois Farmers sent $95. You're doing a great job defending ICE this week. I've been sending your clips to friends and family. It's beyond frustrating to see Trump turn his back on ICE. I'm trying to not give in to hopelessness, but that's how it makes me feel. It's insane that these degenerates are able to run our country with mob rule and face no consequences. Stay safe out there, Nick.
Thank you for the big super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm glad you're
Undercover for
liking
$30.
that.
Sapphire and faded chins. I hope you get your dregs. Just go ahead. Let your hair down.
Shut
Raper
up.
Groy sent $20. Watching the old Hasonic debates. Crazy how spineless this guy is. The Sun would call you an anti-Semitic conspiratorial Nazi back then. Now he uses that narrative to his advantage.
Yep.
A narrative you cultivated. I'd how Hassan and the left live like that. Niggas should be cutting you a check. Gino sent $20. Been disliking.
Mind-numbingly stupid
Gino sent
chat.
$20. Been disliking PVD for a long time. The baller/gangsta brown-nosingest fringe and the big shot persona. What he just sells insurance is quite boring. He just happens to have conservative views but will never be outspoken, especially now that he's in FL. He doesn't stand for anything deep down. Adam is his token Jew. OKW Ubermich sent $20. Nick loved the show. You're the next GLR. Nietzsche and Penguin sent $25. Erica Kirk bragging about merch sales 11 days after her husband's brutal murder really tells you all you need to know about her and Tusa. Shout out to you for calling it out when others thought it was distasteful to do so. The people who write about everything city are begging you to run for mayor.
Dude, I'm so vindicated on that. Tucker Carlson was going to You know what's so funny? When I was doing Tucker's show, he was pressing me about Erica Kirk. He kind of did a surprise attack the morning of the show. We had never talked about this. He said, I want to talk about why are you attacking Erica Kirk? He was getting ready to attack me over that. Now the Candace is doing it. When I was attacking Erica Kirk, everybody was ready to roll up their sleeves and go to war with me. They said that was so distasteful. Candace does it. I hear nothing, I see nothing. Yeah, isn't that something? What a load of shit. I was right. And everybody told me, well, someone in particular was telling me, I'm telling you, don't attack Erica Kirk. That's a bad idea. I'm like, bro, it's a good idea. That's actually the best idea. Sometimes the ideas you think the worst, that are the worst ideas, are actually the best ideas. I stood on business. So a friend of mine was constantly saying, don't attack Erica. That's a mistake. That's an unforced error. You're going to alienate everybody. I'm telling you, it's a bad idea. And I'm like, you are wrong. This is a good-ass idea. Everyone's going to love this. And I was right. I'm so sick of people doubting me. When are people going to realize I'm right about everything? When are people going to just stop and give the devil his due? They never will. And it's so funny. People who will admit that I'm right about everything in the past, then they doubt me in the present. They go, okay, maybe you taught me everything I know. Maybe you're right about everything so far, but you're wrong about this. And you go, listen up, Sonny. I was right then when you were wrong because I'm always ahead. And I'm right about this and you're wrong about this because I'm still ahead. You know? So, that happens to me all the time. People tell me, oh, you know, you're right about this, but you're wrong about Trump. You're right about this, but you're wrong about Erica Kirk. You're right about this, but you're wrong about, you know, embracing Hitler. Or yay, for that matter.
Thomas Cruz sent $100. You got me back into bookboxing. I haven't read books since high school 10 years ago in DEBH. I just used the Spark Notes back then. I got back into it by reading the books I was supposed to in HS and grew from there. I can feel my scholarship attribute ascending.
Hey, thank you for the big super chat. Glad to hear it. Yeah, read books.
Really Roy sent $20. Fuck you for disrespecting Harry Potter. While shilling for Star Wars, no less. I am your father, Jar Jar Binks. Thomas Cruz sent $100. Candace thinks water freezes at 0 degrees because the temperature gauge in her freezer says -12 and fridge says 35. It doesn't make sense to where the freezer is so cold and the fridge would only be 3 degrees above freezing.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
88 sent $20. Nick, at first I didn't understand your views on women. But man, I've had a few Groy pets come up on my feed and they are so pick me and masculine. They talk like men. It's like they're trying to be you. Skull emoji. Will they realize we want feminine women? God bless, man. Appreciate everything you do.
Dude, depart from me. Depart from me. I do not know you. We want feminine women, man. Where's the feminine women? You hear yourself? Can you blow yourself up with TNT? At first I didn't know. That's just my... Yeah, go away. If you're telling me you didn't get my views on women at first, that's all I need to know. Get the fuck out of here. But man, then I saw the e-girls and they're so pygmy and masculine. Now you're just regurgitating my talking points. This whole super chat disgusts me. When will they realize we want feminine women? Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Good point. No, dude. women need to completely shut the fuck up. It's not like... It's like these guys are just simps. These guys are complete simps, and they just want to simp for this, like, mythical good woman. The mythical good woman that we can safely pour our simping into. If you don't have... Wow, this is going to sound so bad. If you don't have, like, a deep and instinctual contempt for women in general, like, you're not going to make it. I don't know what to tell you. When will they realize we want feminine women? Oh, gosh. Dude, we have to deal with women. We have to deal with women. That is really the program.
Tuxedo Sucks said $20. Trump's remarks about it.
Nobody actually enjoys the company of women. You want to have sex with women. You do not enjoy their company. You want to know why? Because when a guy has a one-night stand with a woman, he goes home. He goes home. Do you want to know why? Because the whole point is not the hanging out at the bar. It's not the flirty banter. It's not the reindeer games. It is a means to an end. So this whole, like, no, we want to be traditionally ice skating with our girl downtown. If you really buy into that, you are a stalker. That is a psyop. You have been told by women that is what you want. You have been told by women that it is good and wholesome to want to go on dates, on excursions. And really by that I mean excursions. You have been memed into thinking that you really enjoy courtship. Into thinking that you really want to be putting up with all this nonsense. Because that's all it is nonsense. All they do is say the dumbest stuff. They're all pick-me. All women are like children. It's like a child and their father. It's like, your dad puts a song on the radio and you go, I like this song too. This is my favorite song too, right? Like, women are constantly seeking approval, constantly seeking attention, and they do it in such a transparent way. They're constantly, and they have no center. They don't have opinions. They don't have taste. Case in point, women like the worst restaurants in town with the best aesthetics. You ever notice that? When you see women on TikTok reviewing restaurants, they have no taste at all. They go to the most mediocre restaurants, but they just go to the ones where they could take an Instagram picture. They go to the ones that are hot and trendy, that are expensive, exclusive. They go to the one with the gimmick. They go to the one with the scenic chandelier or view. They have no taste. They have no opinions. They have no taste in art. They just like crap. And typically they just glom on to what their boyfriend likes or their husband likes because they want to please their boyfriend or husband. They seek his validation. They seek his approval. And so transparently. The things they do like, it's garbage. What are the things that women like? Women like true crime podcasts, daytime television. They like the dumbest bullshit that exists. And men have to sit around and pretend like it's some... what do you like? And they yap about the most inane nonsense, drama, gossip, crap. And men have psyoped themselves into thinking that this is some nobility, that this is a noble thing to do. No. Excursions suck. Be honest. As a man, do you really want to go ice skating? Because if you do, fuck you. If you are a real guy out there, and if it wasn't for your girlfriend, you would be out there at Maggie Daly Park or in 30 Rockefeller ice skating and getting hot cocoa. Fuck you. Faggot. Every real man like really would just be kicking it at home. Any real guy would be kicking it at home. And I don't care what you do. Playing games, watching football, watching Netflix, doing work, or something. And if you go out to eat, you want to go and get a steak. You want to go and get a real steak or a real burger or a beef sandwich or tacos. You don't want to go to some frou-frou place where they have the big gimmick, where they have the fucking lobster ravioli that your bitch wants. Because they got a shrimp cocktail and a lobster ravioli and a espresso martini that, you know, Brenda walk to the latest plane. Like, you know what I mean? You don't want that. So, no. When do women become masculine? We want feminine women. What we want is just like patriarchy. What we want is patriarchy. We want a male-dominated society. And we want women to basically just be acted upon. We want them to be object, not subject. So anyway, that's a crazy super chat. When will they realize we want feminine women? It's like these guys are just stuck in cargo culting the 50s. They want to go on a milkshake date with their sundress wearing trad girl. It's like, bro.
Hi. What's her?
You know, guys in the 50s would kill people. In the 50s, guys were like alcoholics, you know? You're talking about the 1950s? People think the 1950s was like Greece. It's like, dude, in the 1950s, everybody was an alcoholic. Black people were getting the shit kicked out of them with the tire iron. Women were getting the shit kicked out of them. What 50s are you talking about? Hey, Toots, want to go on a milkshake date? Hey, don't listen to them. Don't listen to those boys. They could get bent. It's like, no, dude, that guy was an alcoholic. And if the wrong color person walked in the neighborhood, he would kill him with a tire iron. Like, what do you mean? If dinner wasn't on the table, he would, like, fucking blow up the living room. Anyway, so... anyway. So that's crazy. We gotta unlearn some.
Taxi spent $20. Trump's remarks about housing prices today killed the last sliver of hope I had for him. This guy literally fucking hates us. Even though I never miss a night of this show and have bought into this Trump admin site, part of me still held some hope. It couldn't be more blatant that these people fucking hate the citizens.
You know, I'm a little bit torn, you know, because I'm a homeowner. So when Trump says I want asset prices to increase, hey, I'm rich, so thank you, Mr. President. Dude, I'm going to be with them. I'll be right there with them. Trump, we need Bitcoin to go in the other direction. Trump, we need Bitcoin and the S&P 500 back in the right direction. When he says that, I'm like, dude, fuck these niggas. Trump says we need housing prices to go up, not down. I'm like, dude, away. Fuck these niggas. You have all these students. You have all these idiots that went to college. We can't afford a house. I can't afford a house. I'm 28 and I have 5 roommates. I don't know what to tell you. Have money? Have more money? Make more? I don't know what to say. Get a job? Like, you have all these seething people, they identify with the working class. They go, I just want affordability. I can't afford a house. It's like, I would take that to my grave. You couldn't get that out of me. You can't afford a house? Houses are not that expensive. You can't afford a house? Have money? Sorry, I don't know what to say. Get those prices up, man. Jelk those prices up. Jelk those prices up. Let's go full max. Let's go max on those housing prices because, you know, I own real estate. But I understand why you guys are mad. I understand why that was the last straw for me. Really, it wasn't the war for Israel? War for Israel, no mass deportations. That was the last straw for me. He said housing prices should be higher. The last straw is that you're broke? Dude, hand up, not a handout. Don't you realize that? Haven't you tried pulling yourself up by your bootstraps? Make money? I don't know. No, I'm kidding, of course. I'm kidding. Housing should be free. They should give it out.
PhD sent $20. Thoughts on you and Troy versus Shabbos Kesabaum, America First versus Israel First debate on the Adam King Show?
I didn't see that. I'll have to watch it later.
Problem solved sent $20. In Jewish sexual morality, the husband is not the authority. He is the obligated servant of the law, charged with providing intimacy, timing, and satisfaction, while the wife holds the right to accept or refuse. The man carries the duty, the scrutiny, and the penalties. He answers to the system, not the other way around.
Yep. True.
Pursuit sent $50. Anti-Semitism is a Jewish coined phrase and has subverted everybody to misuse it for press. Ask the average Joe to define anti-Semitism and they will tell you, you hate Jews. And that's what it says when you look it up. Instead, ask the person calling you anti-Semitic to define it. We cannot allow them to control these words.
Okay, thank you for telling me. I didn't know that.
Rabbi Chevy Slotnick sent $20. Geography quiz. Name all 13 countries that lie on the equator.
Oh, that's too many. That's too many. I mean, and that's too hard. I don't know if I could do. I think I did this at one point in time, but I'm not going to spend all the time. Give me one with like 5. Don't give me one with 13.
Randall from Recess sent $25. I guess the left and right don't exist because Kurt Metzger showed a picture of Bannon and Chomsky together. Also, curious how Jimmy Dore can't have you on because he needs to do more research but has on Stu Peters to drink more Candace Kool-Aid. Great flavor, of course. Are third-rate gambling sponsors in Jimmy's future?
That's great. Did he really have Stu on? That's crazy.
Choose for that sent $30. When you going to get on Shane Gillis' podcast?
I don't know. Ask him.
Atari agent sent $40. To me, being a wanker isn't just women needing to shut the fuck up, blacks needing to be in prison, and Jews running society. It's kind of a cultural fusion. It's kind of like women needing to shut the fuck up, blacks needing to be in prison, and Jews running society. Operation Wetback sent $20. Mexicans in Elgin got a white cop put on leave and potentially fired for providing tips to ICE on where the illegals are being harbored. Fuck these third world Mexicans in our suburbs. Mexican fraud in Eel alone is far greater than the total sum of all Somali fraud in the country.
You just hate Mexicans.
Back sent $20. Take on Zoomer historian.
He's an idiot.
You weak turds sent $20.
And he'll be a Zionist in 6 months.
You weak turds sent $20. What if instead of raising canes it was called raising African Americans? And instead of serving chicken, Mark's Rosity sent $20. Hi Nick. Please do a segment on one of the biggest scams in the United States. It's the kosher tax on our food supply. Christians don't need to obey Jewish laws. The beloved Paul says so in Galatians 2:4-5. Please help end this Jewish theft on our food supply. Know the symbols. Educate the masses. Godspeed.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Jack Rat 1T sent $20.
Oh,
I was sent free education course for disagreeing with the woke lessons. My graduating class was sub 80. They will leave you alive anywhere bigger. Hide your power level. You weak turds sent $20. What if instead of raising canes, Luke sent $36? Ye's taste in porn is hooded.
I'm not gonna lie. Some of it was appealing.
Luke sent $61. Alex was pretty fucking retarded.
You know what? It's a family show. I'm not going to go into detail. Yeah, he
sent
was.
$33. Amy Dangerfield is based.
Yeah, she seems based.
65 sent $20. Thank you for all you do, Mr. Fuentes, sir. 2026, the year of the Groiber. Also, I had a dream about you the other. Home Invader 7978 sent $20. My favorite humble hat salesman. A drunk 6,969 sent $100. What I like about super chatting you is you will read it, no matter how bad it is. Unlike that greedy hook-nosed Negris Candace Owens that cherry big super chats.
Thank you for the big super chat. Yeah.
If I were you, then you'd be me. You'd be watching me on a generational run. The Wolf sent $20. Scrolling through Candace Owens' X account is pure comedy. I wouldn't recommend looking through her posts unless you're attempting to retard Max. White Pill Broiber sent $30. After Trump backstabbed young voters today on wanting to keep housing prices up, it's inevitably he's impeached. Do you think anything fundamentally changes with Vance as president? Flawed Roy was sent $100. Alex Pretty should have watched those wrist rockets. Also, fuck Laura Loomer.
Thank you for that.
It's Knock.com sent $20. You are going to hate this comparison, but you are so much like the band Fish. You are ultimately serious and essential, just opposed by inside humor, taken for granted by the retard public, and mocked by the uninitiated. Folk hero ass nigga. Rabbi Muligman 55 sent $50. Golden Age, greater than going age. When 123 sent $20, would you consider uploading the show to X? Under like America First show a moniker or something? Not like Rumble paying you anyways. Kate Hikes 109 sent $20. Hassan's been banned from Twitch again. Roy Burker strikes once again. Kyle Lewis 737 sent $50. The moon landing is a story of wide excellence. That's satellite tech. The moon landing is a Jewish fairy tale about a magical black woman. If it's more, why is Tang the peak of the lunar exchange? Bigard 1857 sent $100. Only thing keeping me white pilled is my belief in Christ and the generational run. So hard not black pill. You were so right, they're cooking us from what the popular vote wanted. 42% of our own kind.
Thank you for that.
Aquarium Pro sent $25. Was thinking about what you said. I think Candace thinks the root word of architecture is texture. Lamau.
I think you might be right.
Bigard 1857 sent $150. One is murdered and our family is raped for a crew of Somali scammers. So sad what has become. I'm sick of the bullshit. We won, we shouldn't have to reach across the aisle. But only one man read the cards and knew what was to come of this administration. Sorry for the rant, usually don't say much. Thank you for all you do, God bless you, Nick.
Hey, thank you for the big super chat and all the support. Big Red, one of our guys.
G36 Bubba sent $20.
Appreciate it.
Lockheed got called in for a Saturday shift. Looks like the production line has already ramped up for Iran. Praying for everyone involved. You as well, Nick. God bless you, man. Keep spreading the truth.
Thank
sent
you.
$31. Jacob Frey thinks he's in a Netflix show.
Yeah.
Joey Allen 904 sent $20. The problem with noticing is you can never unsee it. There is no more normal existence. It's a gift and a curse. The confirmation bias is real. Discernment is now the #1 skill required.
Yep.
Judine Newcomb, 10 cent, $20. Hey Nick, I'm 17 from Arkansas and got my USA quarter zip. Wanked footy. America
Let's
first
go.
down, America first mug to flex on all the left scum. Keep cooking.
Based from Arkansas, huh? Down in Arkansas. I've only been to Arkansas once, and I didn't love it. But WW Southern Groiper. I was going to say hillbilly, but I think you'd be offended by that.
Spencer Carr sent $50.
Based.
Spencer Carr sent $50. All this chatter about the elimination of the white race sounds ridiculous coming from perfectly able-bodied white men who don't have kids. I'm 34 with 4 white male children, and it's a grind, but I did my part. I get it, women suck, but find the diamond in the rough and reproduce. Hurry the fuck up. Love the show.
Gosh.
Wednesday, 2036. If he has operator
Die.
76 cent $20. How about Matt Walsh being the Nick negative 1.5? Please do a collab with him. Kiss and make up. He's held down by the Mr. 08 Asia people. Odyssey 2401 sent $50. Love the show.
Thank you.
James Leno sent $20. Babyface Nick is back.
True.
Alexia H. sent $20. I opened your live and I'm devastated that the mustache is gone. I'll need to seek therapy now that my mustache fine shit hath left me. I only wish we had more time. Farewell, my sweet. Zane Brenda sent $50. Make America first again.
Yeah.
Camardi 8934 sent $20. Nick, me and my buddies love your stuff and watch every night. Graduating HS soon. Could you drop a positive senior yearbook quote? Appreciate you, brother. Christ is king.
Bro.
Cross emoji. USA emoji. God
There's
bless.
like a million to choose from, really. Which senior high school quote should I do? There's like a million
The Brock
clips.
Grow sent $30. Hassan better spend more time learning to swim and less time being a gay boy beta cup. Bring the bricks. America first, you dirty Turkish dish rag. Also, what the fuck, Rumble? I'm trying to watch my nigga Nick. I'm on that few a day.
Yeah.
Fetty Pop sent $20. Hey Nick, I only recently discovered you over the past few months. I'm happy I didn't listen to all the retards that said you were a bad person.
Let's go. Based. All right. Epic name.
$20. What would your advice be to military grow and with aspirations of moving into intelligence agencies? Avoid Bruce. Saw you say seek government power. Curious if you think CIA is worth changing.
More like infiltrating.
Boy, sent $50. Watch the 5th interview on NXR. I was thoroughly impressed. Your intelligence really shined through. I had to show it to my dad, and he's a fan now as well.
Let's
Love your
go.
content,
Thank
man.
you.
Sarah
Thank
sent
you for
$50.
doing that.
Thanks for making me
Awesome.
laugh as it makes I'm rooting for you.
W
Played
Max.
sent $20. Did you see yesterday's friendly fire on the Daily Wire? No seems to be warming. Laban lectured them about how you're evil and unfunny. No sense he's funny under his breath instead.
I did not see that, but who cares? They're cowards.
Candace Owens pronounced George Farmer as Georgie Farmer when they first met. Roy sent $20. Candace Owens once spent a whole week running around with a net trying to catch stars out of the night sky. Yu-Gi-Oh! Mission Minus the Goat sent $50. Thoughts on Transformers? Based?
Dumb. It's a truck. It
Sailor
turns
sent
into a
$50.
robot.
First
Dumb.
I've been a mug lover since 2019. After the interview with Steve and I've made the show a part of my day.
Let's go!
Thank you for all your hard work. Can't wait to see what you bring moving forward.
Thanks a lot.
Hope you
Appreciate
$60.
it.
Many on the left believe Israel is a U.S. satellite. Desto anti-Israel pairs well with any government anti-American sentiment. Stay-at-home mom sent $20. Heard claims casino in your standby montage. I've got his top 10 go for me. Also, my dad was Mexican and used to say fucking pie sauce on the regular LOL. You remind me of him. Red heart emoji. Lost him in June. Broken heart emoji.
I remind you of your Mexican dad.
Next
Thanks.
sent $20. Most European Jews were legally barred from Palestine.
Well, I'm like my Mexican dad.
Next
So.
sent $20. Most European Jews were legally barred from Palestine. Once World War II began, Britain tightened restrictions even further. Ships carrying Jewish refugees were turned back, detained, or entered. Hobioki once sent $20. A Turkish coworker told me beat your wife every day because if you don't know why, she does. Talking Fashion sent
Yeah,
$25.
that's good. I like
Talking
that.
Fashion sent $25. Few people are as full of shit as Roseanne. Spends a lifetime pushing degeneracy. Magically sees the light after October 7th. Gets welcomed in by Dinesh and the Fox News crowd with open arms.
That's
Pathetic.
crazy.
Josh
Yeah,
Black
it's
sent
amazing.
$20. Nothing more irritating and disappointing than 2A supporters taking the side of Pretty because they somehow think it's an attack on 2A rights when it obviously is. The inability to understand that ICE is actually trying to save your kids and grandkids and isn't some oppressive police state is mine. Sue
Yeah.
Wayne sent $100. Your hands, palms, appear abnormally large. Is it the camera angles or are your hands huge in real life? I'm scared for all the bitches you have to smack from time to time. M. White Boy sent $20. At M. White Boy, have you ever watched Officer Maggot by Thanks Computer? Thoughts? Would you do a podcast with Sam Hyde? Fuck Somalians, deport. Jordan M. Nelson sent $20. Thoughts on the Scottish Green Party having a meltdown over Trump flying out of the arresting the captain and first mate of the oil tanker Monroe style? They know they can't do a thing about it. Lol. Smiley face emoji.
No thoughts on the Scottish Green Party, actually.
King Julie sent $50. Palestinian ancestry here. Our homeland was erased by massive illegal/legal immigration and refugees, Jews, under British rule. Palestinians were unanimously against it but had no power to stop it. Enraging when I see Palestinians here in the U.S. opposing border enforcement and supporting the same policies that destroyed our homeland. Brainless lips. A PX Donna sent $100. Bad and more room posse here. Began watching your streams last fall. You're authentic. Live with a kick-ass sense of humor. This generational movement gives me hope. My grandson and I are the family gophers, converting the others. Love your show and content. Thank you. Praying for your protection, safety, and success.
Thank you
America
very
first.
much.
Go
We
hard.
love
Godspeed. Praying gesture emoji.
Man in War Room. Welcome here. Thank you for the big super chat. I appreciate it.
My reality sent $30. Pretty good show. Your series with Joel Bennett
How
is
many
masterfully
more
done.
times
Some
are
of
we
the
going to
greatest
hear
content
that
of the
fucking
generation.
stupid
Patreon
joke?
cancels him for it.
Really?
No, it's checkmark. The Clubacost. This
Pretty
week,
good. Pretty
$4.4
good.
$40.
Shut the
Started watching
fuck
show a
up.
week ago and absolutely it. All my right-wing friends are saying Pretty didn't deserve to die on ICE as unprofessional.
Okay.
They are falling for
Who
a
cares?
King said $100. People comparing ICE, IDF are devoid of culture. ICE is enforcing our laws in our country. IDF is an illegitimate occupying force operating outside
Thank
their
you
borders.
for. I
Things easy to
literally
do.
said that on the show yesterday. So now it's your turn to say what I just said. Amazing. Thank you for this totally important super chat and message. Let's use the full character limit to just say it all over again. I said it and resaid it and said it again. Let's use the full character limit to say it again. Totally necessary.
Roy Bermom 1776 sent $25.
Oh my
Official.
gosh.
The moment has to be met accordingly. Keep demanding the Insurrection Act. Anything less is for pussies. By the way, I'm already in power. We're here and we're growing. That's as much as I can say.
Love to hear it. God
Tim
bless.
2005 sent $20. Joseph Smith had multiple wives. One was 14. He also didn't F with Nika's. Joseph Base Back 69 sent $20. You better keep that same energy for Alex. I know we all love Alex. Don't rape Sneeko anymore sent $25. First time super chat. Nick, the last few nights you've talked about Star Wars, LOTR, Game of Thrones. I gotta know, as a fellow super, what's your take on Transformers? Gustavo Groemer sent $20. Hi Nick, you said if JD Vance condemns AF, we defy GOP status quo. Byron Donalds condemned you and Tucker. If Fishback loses GOP primary, should we vote Democrat not in solidarity? Palestinian lesbian sent $25. Was the Trump assassination done by neocons or Mossad? Or did they just manipulate the super reactor? Bisbee Better sent $20. 10 years later, still the same argument. Little 5 feet 6 inches gay kitten boy jingling keys as to distract us on religious contradictions. Peter was a little rough. Jesus has the keys, you heard.
Oh, you're North
Matthew.
Row. Well, it's done.
Matthew P is a troll, please remove him, sent $20. Gen Z on TikTok is now saying they are okay with age gap laws being applied for adults. It's never been more over. Epstein killed himself because he knew it was coming. Bailey Raw I sent $30.
He will rise from the grave, and the whole world will see that he was
Bailey Raw
right.
I sent $30. The opera.
One day, Epstein's spirit. Yeah, that's once they raise the age of consent to 29, and they create age gap laws. Then that is the moment when Jeffrey Epstein's spirit will rise from the grave, and the whole world will see that he was right, and another war will begin. That's
Bailey Raw I
just
sent $30. The obfuscation the left deploy.
unmatched perspicacity.
Bailey Raw I sent $30. The obfuscation the left deploy under the banner of anti-Zionism is no different from the ways Zionist right-wingers, Christian or Jewish, invoke Judeo.
Thank you so much for this really
Jay
important
Fearless sent
point.
$30. Commerce attempted to compartmentalize the debacle by delegitimizing ChatGPT, explaining the architecture of a macabre blitzkrieg with her green breath. God bless you.
Posted
Swiss
it
sent
again.
$20.
Amazing.
Tell me Wrath of Cortex. The kids don't understand how amazing the airplane level was in World 1. Star Wars Battlefront 2, 2007. Gambling Saint sent 20.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Is there anything dumber? Hey, remember that? Shut the fuck
Gambling Saint
up.
sent $20. Hello, fellow Gentiles. Don't you think Madero was about 2020 election? Ooh-ha.
Okay. Pointless trash. Thank you
25
for
sent
that.
$25. Wouldn't Israel be putting themselves?
These are so bad. It's just like, why even write most of this garbage? You're just saying the same shit that I'm saying. Why? It's like it's my turn to say it now. I say this shit for 60 minutes, then you get on and say, now it's my turn to say the exact same thing. It's just like, we're doing the show with TTS. Let's take every sentence of the show, and then let's just pay money to do the same show in TTS for another hour. Good idea. Hello, fellow Gentiles. Don't you think Maduro... That one doesn't even make sense. Jews aren't saying that. It's like idiot QAnon people. It doesn't... That joke doesn't even make any sense.
Wouldn't Israel be putting themselves into a corner if Iran is out of the picture?
No.
Their main adversary in the region would then be Turkey, which they couldn't just bomb.
You are so stupid. You should stop paying attention to
Florida
politics.
87 sent $20. I may be dumb, but isn't criminal illegal immigrant a redundant statement? Anyways, keep up the good work.
We explained it yesterday.
Siago would sent $20. Dude, when do we get another Sam Hyde collab? I have that episode downloaded, and every time I listen to it, I'm something else.
Let's just do one every day. I did one in July. Let's just do one every single day.
Sent $20. Tolkien hated the Roman and British empires, hated imperialism, and was a Philosemite. He was not on side.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know that. That's actually... Wow. See? Okay. That's another instance where I am based without even knowing it. I didn't know that. Now, that's a good super chat. That makes perfect sense. Dude, that actually makes perfect sense, because I always hated Lord of the Rings because it's about these, like, pussies. It's a movie about these little babies and their magical friendship, and I just think that's gay. I don't want to watch a movie about a bunch of short people crying about how good of friends they are. I want to watch a movie about, like, people killing each other. And I always felt that way. I always felt like no one should, like, why does everyone like this movie if the main characters are so boring? But now that makes perfect sense. If the guy is, like, one of these people that hates Empire and all of that, then that makes perfect sense. Wow, so I'm implicitly based for always hating Lord of the Rings. WD. I just don't get the appeal. If the movie was all war, if it was all like, you know, huge battles between armies, that would be cool. But the movie is like, It's about this like short guy who keeps crying and like whether he has real friends or not. Like, there's too much of that. There's too much. It's like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. There's just like too much crying and carrying on and like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take the ring. It's okay, I forgive you. Like, okay. And they're defenseless. I don't want to watch a movie about defenseless people escaping. I want to watch a movie about powerful people killing everyone. You know what I mean? Do you get me? My favorite genre of movie is like there's a white male and he's the best at what he does and he's able to get out of any situation. Jack Bauer, Liam Neeson, that sort of thing. That's my favorite genre. Like, the archetypal hero is Jack Bauer. It's like, badass guy, gets out of every situation, nobody can step to him, nobody can beat him. That's my favorite movie. My favorite movie is like that guy. And I feel like The Hobbit is just, it's like a video game where you don't have weapons. You know how there's certain video games where it's all about stealth and like avoiding enemies and hiding? I always hated those games. And that's what Lord of the Rings feels like to me. It's like a bunch of weak, defenseless people being pushed around and losing for 2.5 of the movies. And I want to watch, something else. I don't want to watch a movie about three hobbits from the Shire crying about their friendship and, the true meaning of friendship and whether they're really friends or not. And they only have, like, defensive capabilities. That's boring. That shit is boring. That's why I like Game of Thrones, because it's just people getting their heads cut off all the time. It's just brutal. People just getting killed all the time, and people getting stabbed and heads blown off, and that's good. Now, that's entertainment. That's entertainment. I don't want to... And these movies are, like, 4 hours, and they're boring. Montages of like wooden flute music while these little people run through the villages on their great big adventure. We're going on an adventure. Who the fuck likes that? I seriously question who likes that. I don't like it. I don't think it's sentimental or wholesome. I think it's stupid. I don't like Star Wars because I like Anakin. It's about an arrogant, super talented, super powerful warrior who is merciless. And the whole system has to hold him back. That's a movie. This is garbage. This is not a movie. This is garbage. This is boring. Nobody wants to watch that. So, it makes sense that Tolkien exalts weakness instead of power and domination. It makes sense now why I don't like this movie. Because it's Catholic, but in the cringe way. Catholicism is based, but frequently it turns into this just like, I don't know. There's a feminine streak in it, which, and I know I should probably not have a problem with that, but it does conflict with my deep personality flaws. So it's hard for me to really enjoy it.
Ethan Ruiz sent $20. Zoomer historian got banned from it is now on Rumble. Great bits on World War II for those interested. Dude sounds like Keith Woodslow. Hope you're good, Nick.
No, he's terrible and he's an idiot.
Earth116 sent $20. Yo, Nick, me and a buddy talked about Daniel Petty ended up calling me an alt-right broad because I want millions deported. I love it, but what do you think about Ye backing off the Jews?
I already talked about it.
Redrago sent $110. W.
Thank you for the big super chat, W.
Big Steamy Papa John sent $30. Jews are raised from a young age to know their importance, their special place in history, and given a notion to operate with a divine destiny. If not that, then that they need to network and be as close-knit as possible for other secular reasons. Should we groom our kids for greatness similarly? Freedom but also a mission. Eli 3006 sent $50. Yo. Sarah Palin's box sent $20. All the Gen X libtards and hijacked the Epstein class for their own purpose were jamming to She's Only 17 by Winger and 86 Lowell. By the way, we should make that the Jet EV anthem.
How about Sweet 16 by Chuck Berry? Dude, it was all like that. Do you know when Elvis Presley met his wife? She was 14. Elvis Presley. They were all like that. Chuck Berry, Sweet 16. So, I And I'm not defending it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And I'm not saying it's justified. I'm just saying, when you get these guys, they get up on this soapbox and they go, the White House is protecting a freaking... It's like, dude, they're protecting Jews. They're not protecting a fucking monster. They're protecting Jewish intelligence. You're missing the whole point.
Semi55 sent $20. Beer and hugs, by the way. Here's $20 more.
Thank you.
Virtual Laser sent $20. How do I conceal my nipples? Maybe Clap has a protocol.
I'm sure he does.
Romeo Guerrero 9 sent $20. Bro, I can't believe you said yesterday that I'm not Italian. Bro, my name is Romeo. My brother's name is Rocco. My dad's name is Liliano. Bro, I'm the most Italian guy you will ever meet. Do the slickback. Matt Soup sent $20. I remember having to show a vaccination card to eat dinner. Spare me the bullshit about proof of citizenship being a burden.
Good point.
Go Big sent $25. Following up on the super chat earlier. The intensity we have to approach everything has to be higher than the left. The left is currently compiling clips of CBP Commander Bovino talking about using them at trial. We have to be more vicious. Anything less, we are losing.
Okay, yeah, I already said that every day this week.
Larry
Thank
Silverstein
you.
is a piece of shit. Devil cunt sent $20. Yo, did you see the debate with Owen Schwer and that cocksucker cocksmoker pussy ass cunt bag of a raccoon who shits himself all day? Shabbos Kesselbaum? Owen went in on him and he cried and quit in the middle of the debate and cried to his rabbi. I skipped all of Shabbos shit cause he's bullshit. Check it out.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Gambling Saint sent $20. Hello fellow Gentiles, don't you think this Madero thing is about a 20? Yu-Gi-Oh! Mission is the goat sent $20. Transformers is really political. Autobots equals patriotic America defending freedom. Decepticons equals globalist tyrant seeking control and domination.
Oh my
it's all about
gosh.
something. Drewster sent $25. First time super chat. Love the show. Artemis 2 launch window opens on the 5th. Sending humans back to lunar orbit for the first time since Apollo. Any plans to talk about it on the show? Shit's fake anyway.
Maybe.
Irish3333 sent $20. You want me to treat him like white folk? No, I didn't say that. Granite State Broiler sent $20. These are painful. Take the gold deals.
Seriously, at this point, it's like...
Lyric Terror sent $20.
Honestly.
Huge where's the root for the tweet that got 1 million likes on the timeline?
Did it? I didn't even see that, but congrats.
Misfit Crusader sent $25. I've been a big fan for a long time, but just ordered a wag shirt as a 98 Mexican from Gage Park, Chicago.
Base. Yeah, wear it in the hood. Hey, Holmes. Yeah, wear it in the hood. Love it. W Mexican.
Alabama sent
My
$5.
nigga.
My clean cut shave and lighting is definitely
Oh, boy,
defined
what
2 bucks
up?
in July tonight. Thanks for making us grandma laugh.
All right.
You're crazy.
Let's go. Base. Grandmas are based. Grandmas, moms, based. I'm glad someone's enjoying this process. I'm glad you are. That's the one redeeming thing. If I can suffer for your amusement, I'm glad.
J.288 sent $20.
Someone
We
gets
should
to
preach the
laugh
gospel for
here.
illegal immigrant. Then we will be so excited to spread it abroad that we couldn't keep them here if we wanted.
Amazing.
Figureman 1 sent $20. Seems like you would like movies like Dirty Harry, Death Wish 1 and 3, Rambo 1,
Okay.
2 and 3, Commando,
Oh.
Invasion USA,
Skin is crawling. Skin is crawling. Thanks for the tip. Appreciate it. Yeah, I never heard of Sylvester Stallone until you just told me, fuckwad. Seems like you'd like Dirty Harry and Rambo. Oh, you like action movies? I think you'd like the most famous action movies ever. No. Super helpful. Needed to be said. Thank you. Thank you, sentient human being. Ugh. I'm deflated, drained. Deflated and drained from that miserable session. All right, well, that's the last super chat. That's going to do it for me. Psychically painful, psychologically painful. This is like a military-grade weapon. I think I would rather be on Guantanamo Bay than read these super chats. I think it would be easier. Like, what does that guy talk about on TikTok? To be in the cold room? I think I would rather be in the cold room every day for 2 hours and read these. Because that's just something else. All right, well, that's all I got for you. Remember to smash the follow button. Someone says, fix your hair. What's wrong with my hair? It's fine. Remember to smash the follow button, smash the like button, leave a comment. I'm on the air Monday through Friday. As always, thank you.